Hello, hello.
Oh my goodness.
Oh, yes, Patrick. He's good most of it. He is complicated. We'll discuss that.
We will discuss it. So, hello everybody. Hello,
All
hello.
right, so fingers crossed today.
Hey, look.
Stream holds up. I did test the connection earlier, and everything seems good.
Do these
So,
kind of look like sunflowers to you? A little bit?
no, not really.
I don't know.
I see what you're trying to go for there.
Thought maybe they did
Real
a little
quick,
bit.
just I put this little box here so that the chat could be seen a little bit better, but
It's not work.
no, hold on. I think
Hi,
there's
Lucas.
why. Okay. I also want to make it a little bit smaller.
Hello, Angela.
Bear with me 1 second, guys. So we're not covering up Lex's head.
Yeah, don't cover up my head. Hi, Katie.
Maybe down here is better. Or over here. Yeah, because my head sticks up more over that. Okay. We'll do that.
Ooh, croissants with cheese and pepperoni. That sounds good. I just want to... There. Because I can't see. Hello.
Hello, hello.
Okay.
Got
Ah,
else.
someone else wants to join the Snape discussion today.
Yep.
Hello, BD.
Bailey has a few thoughts on Snape.
Does he now?
Yeah,
Oh.
he's on my side though.
Oh, he is? Okay.
I think Snape is not the greatest person. But all right. I think to begin with, maybe we should talk about the poll.
We should talk about the poll and what people had to say. I think we should go through what some of the responses were, because I think some people had some very interesting, in-depth things to say.
Oh, absolutely.
Also, I'm just going to put it out there that throughout the discussion, we need to maintain respect and positivity, and no aggressive or hostile things. This is healthy discussion. No bad conversation, right?
That's right.
Let's all be respectful to everybody. Just had to put it out there. People get a little riled up sometimes when it comes to Snape, so let's just keep it civil.
Yeah.
Okay.
To say the least.
Just putting it out there. Okay. There. That being said, hey, I'm at work, so I can't stick around, but I want to put my 2 cents in real quick. Is Snape a good guy? Yes. Is Snape a good guy as in kind-hearted, etc.? No. He's kind of an a-hole. Thank you for that. That's kind of my stance on the Snape issue. So thanks for your input. It's a very, very quick summation of what you think. Very well stated. Very well stated. There we go. Look at you.
Doing this with Bailey on me is a bit of a task right now. So, the end of the day, let's see.
There we go. Look at that.
The end of the day, we have 27% saying good, 11% saying bad, and 63% saying gray. I was genuinely surprised at the number of people who said good over bad. I thought it was going to be closer.
Yeah, I was a little pleasant. The thing I was not surprised about were the way, way in the lead results for Gray. That the majority think he's Gray. Damn, seems legit.
Sometimes good and bad have to team up against evil. Fair enough.
Yep.
I kind of like that. And
Yeah.
hey, Australian. We've been having quite a few Australian viewers lately.
Woo.
And good, very early morning to you.
Unrelated, but I'd just like to say thank you guys so much for your videos. I just love your energy so much. I've been watching you guys since 300 subs and just wanted to congratulate you on 2.5K.
Oh, well, thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you very, very much. That's awesome. Thank you for sticking with us for so long as we grow and try
Yeah,
to do the thing.
it's
So
been a long road, and it's nice to see that people are sticking around.
I know you're not sick of us yet, so that's good. That's good.
Hopefully, the Snape debate doesn't offend anyone.
Yes, hopefully no one gets upset about the Snape discussion. Growing up.
Seems like just yesterday we were at 100 subs. No, I remember how like ecstatic we were. We were like, "Oh my god, 100 subs!
I know, we were
100
freaking out.
people like our stuff."
Yeah, 100 people decided that they wanted to see more of this. Wow.
I mean, we're still a tiny channel in terms of YouTube.
Yeah,
But
we
still,
are a
it's
tiny channel.
huge accomplishment
You
for
guys
us.
are hilarious and awesome and the perfect amount of snark. Well, thank you.
Ah,
We try. We try to be funny.
we are quite amazing, yes.
Jilted in love, repeatedly passed over for his dream job, responsible for a kid that could have been his. I feel for Snape. Such responsibility with such mad rejection. I could say
Yeah.
so much about that. We will get into all of that. We will get into all of that. We will discuss it. But yes, yes, yes. Yes and yes.
All right, let me just.
Alonzo says that they also love our Snape arguments because we've definitely had multiple Snape arguments over the course of the last
Mhm.
couple of years.
And it's because
And
of all
it's
those
never.
arguments that we're actually doing this, because it's like, well, we just want to kind of get everything in one place.
Hey, let's put it all out there. This is how we all feel about Snape. This is where it's at, and I'm sure it's going to come up again
Yeah.
at some point. But this is just the time to focus on good old Snivelly.
Snivelus, how
Snivelus.
appropriate. All right.
So I honestly feel for Snape so much and love him. However, I think it's pretty low how he picks on children who have been through literal hell.
Mm-hmm.
I think Dumbledore didn't give Snape the job earlier since it was Jinx and he might have died or something.
Yeah,
Yeah, I think that's.
I'll agree with that.
I would agree with that.
If nothing else, Dumbledore did love to use Snape.
I think Dumbledore was definitely protecting him a little bit there too. Like, no, 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 not this year, Severus, not this year, but someday you can have the job someday. Just not yet. I've hired this gentleman named Gilderoy Lockhart. He'll be perfect this year. Like, dude, how pissed off do you think Snape was when Dumbledore had to tell him, like, I'm hiring Gilderoy Lockhart to be the Defense Against the Dark Arts teacher this year? Like, how angry do you think he was? And then that all happened, the Chamber of Secrets, all of that. And then next year, Snape is like, you hired who? Looney Lupin? What? And I also...
Why do you hate me, Dumbledore?
Oh, yes, and you have to brew him a potion once a month so that he doesn't go bananas and bite all the children. Why do you hate me? Oh, and Sirius Black escaped.
I know I've said it in a previous video, but Snape died the way he lived, with Dumbledore telling him what to do.
Yeah. Yeah. Dan, we are definitely we will do a Dumbledore discussion as well because I think Dumbledore definitely merits his own discussion. He's just as complex, I think, as Snape.
Mm-hmm.
He's
I was gonna say
maybe not quite as gray, but he's definitely complicated enough that we could sit and have a Dumbledore discussion for sure.
I think Dumbledore and Snape overlap so much. I think they're both majorly gray characters, but I think Snape just has a few little things that push him over the fence to the side of bad for me. While Dumbledore is just as gray, but just has like this, just a couple things that push him over the side
Side
of the
of good.
fence to good. So they're very close to just being
Completely
totally
gray for you.
ambiguous characters.
No, Dan, Remus didn't use the shack during Prisoner of Azkaban. Snape had to make him the Wolfsbane potion every month, and with the Wolfsbane potion, Remus curls up in his office and just is a harmless, docile wolf until the moon is over. That's why he doesn't use the shack. And Snape has to brew the potion for him because it's complicated, and who else is gonna do it? Now that I think about it, all the Defense Against the Dark Arts teachers died except Gilderoy and Dolores, and she's in Azkaban. They did.
Yeah.
I mean,
It is a cursed position.
it is a look what happened to Moody.
Voldemort cursed it.
I mean, Gilderoy Lockhart lost his mind. Moody didn't even get to teach. The real Moody, he got locked in a trunk for a year.
Mm-hmm.
Like that's pretty cursed.
There is a thing that I do think is funny though. So, Barty Crouch Jr. tries to weasel his way into Hogwarts to kill Harry Potter and everything. Why did? Well, I guess he didn't actually have contact with Voldemort, but you think someone would have told him, actually, that position is cursed. So he was destined to fail from the beginning. Just because of Voldemort.
You think Voldemort would have told him that?
I mean, but the thing is, like, I'm gonna be the Defense Against the Dark Arts teacher. Don't you think Voldemort would have been like, no, wait, hold on.
No, because he needed him to.
He's setting him up to fail.
He set him up. All he needed Barty Crouch to do was to get Harry Potter to the graveyard at that time when he needed him to do it. Everything else is inconsequential. Voldemort doesn't care.
That's fair enough. All right, we're getting off topic here. Snape.
I love the dynamic of Snape and all the young dudes. He's very much a Draco, and it shows how much the Golden Trio relate to the Marauders.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if people realized the position was cursed or noticed it, except Dumbledore and Tom.
But that's what I mean. Tom would have done it. So you think he would have told someone who was going to apply for a job there, or weasel his way in by capturing Moody and kidnapping him and putting him in a trunk. Like, maybe you should go for a different position because he's kind of
or maybe Voldemort
betting a lot of money.
Maybe Voldemort thought since he put the curse on the position, if he really needed to, he could get. Well, that's actually a good question. Who was cursed? Was it Barty or Moody? Because Moody was the one that was hired, not Barty.
Okay, fair enough.
And Moody
I just
definitely was cursed because he was stuck in a trunk for a year.
That's true.
Barty was not hired. I think that's a good point.
All right. You got me on that one. You do.
And Jonathan also says, did Crouch technically fail? His job was to get Harry to Voldy at the right time. He definitely did what he was supposed to do.
He did.
He was successful.
I was just saying, Voldemort was just taking a gamble by letting him go in that position.
I also think Barty Crouch was so successful and so sneaky and so smart that Rowling had to get rid of him.
Yeah.
She just had to get rid of him.
This is going to be bad.
He's too good. Trio. He's too good. We have to get rid of him. He's got to go. But Butch is just going to have him get kissed and call it a day.
He's too good. This is going to turn into Game of Thrones.
Yeah, right.
All right.
Let's look at what people had to say in the poll.
I think Snape overlaps so many characters. It's just distracting us.
Yes. Although I definitely think we should have a Dumbledore chat sometime. I think you could definitely even have a Voldemort chat sometime because we argue about a lot of things with Voldemort.
Yeah.
um,
So I think first we should just go through these comments and kind of see what everyone had to say.
yes, yes, yes.
So you want to read this one?
Okay, so Michelle Sweeney had said, yes, he is a flawed human. That's an understatement, but I would never have named my child after him. Even if he survived long enough to tell Harry the truth, Snape would have done it in his usual hate-filled way. So many fans say there was remorse. Sorry, but I believe they are only seeing what we wish were there. Snape liked Lily, but he made his choices that had lasting effects. All of us, or at least most of us, have had bullies like James Potter to contend with, and then we grow up. Oh, dear Lord. Probably not friends with them in adulthood, but we not take out our past on their children and or family. Sorry, I know these aren't complete thoughts, just looking at this through the lens of a flawed, mature human. There is a great explanation given by someone named John about 12 days ago as the day I am writing mine.
I mean, that's kind of how.
You see it?
Yeah, that's very close to my whole interpretation. And
All right. You gonna
All right.
are you gonna go to your mom's and come back, or do you think you're just gonna get food?
I'm just gonna get food.
And come back
Yep.
and join us?
Yes.
You want to say hi real quick to
Sure.
everyone?
Yes, yes, yes.
Hi, everybody.
So Noel is here, and he will be joining us for the Great Snape debate. He just has to run out real quick.
He's a little hungry, so he's got to run out.
Yep.
We're also going to get Chinese after we're done, if you're interested. So mull on that.
Okay.
All right, so we'll see you in a little bit.
Yep. I'll be right back.
All right. Should we just read them and then unpack them?
I think, unless something
All right,
captures your eye,
so-
because I mean that is
Kind of how you feel about it?
kind of how I feel about it. So like everything that Michelle said is right on the money for me.
All right, are we ready to read Katie's?
Yep.
Brace
you go.
yourselves.
Just so
I know.
I'll make sure. Oh yeah, that's not gonna fit. All right,
No,
let's
it's not
go
going to fit. So
Yeah.
here we go. Katie said, I don't think Snape was overall a good person or a bad person, so I had to pick the gray category. He was closer to bad than good, though. He was definitely on the side of good on a grand scale. He was extremely brave, and his actions helped lead to the defeat of Voldemort, but while working for Dumbledore, he would also bully children. I don't believe he was acting that way as a cover for his double agent role. I think he really wanted to be cruel to people like Neville and Hermione. There was no way he needed to tell Hermione he sees no difference in her teeth when they've grown so large. That definitely wasn't necessary to maintain his cover. He is also so incredibly cruel to Neville that Neville's Boggart is Snape and not a scary creature like most of the other students' Boggarts. When he threatened to poison Trevor the Toad, I think Snape was gifted enough to know the poison wasn't poisonous just by looking at it, but he knew it would terrify Neville to think his Toad might die, and it's also a way for Snape to punish Hermione for helping Neville. Neville might have actually been half decent at potions if he wasn't so nervous all the time in class. Snape only has himself to blame for all those melted cauldrons. That's probably true. I do think he was so cruel to Neville because he knew Neville could have been the chosen one, and if he and his parents had died, then Lily would still be alive. That was in no way Neville's fault, though, and it's no excuse to treat him so cruelly. Snape never liked Harry right up until the very end. All his actions for the side of good were for Lily only. When it says Snape looked horrified at Dumbledore for raising Harry like a pig for slaughter, I don't think Snape was horrified that Harry had to die. He is described as saying that part calmly. I think he was horrified Dumbledore had used him to keep Harry safe the whole time, which now seemed like it was for nothing if he was going to die anyway. Snape never learned to care for Harry. He still hated him, but protected him to honor his love for Lily and do all he could to make up being responsible for her death. When Dumbledore asks Snape if he's grown to care for the boy, for Harry after all, Snape shouts for him and produces the Doe Patronus to show it has all to do for his love for Lily and not Harry. Snape's love for Lily was not pure, and it was also unhealthy. He only knew her as a teenager and didn't really know her anymore after their 5th year when they were around 16. He's in his mid-30s and still pining for a person that age frozen in time in his mind. From what we see in the book, he's obsessed with her and his love for her is selfish. It was pure then that he... If it was pure, then he would have rather seen her happy with a husband and child than asked Voldemort to spare her in exchange for them. He was okay with her suffering that loss as long as he had her all to himself. Yes, Snape's actions allowed for the love protection from Lily to occur, which saved Harry's life, and he teaches Harry Expelliarmus, which ends up saving Harry's life multiple times. But the point is, he didn't do those things in order for good things to happen. It was all for selfish reasons. When he teaches Harry Expelliarmus, he is also, it's in the same lesson when he's telling Draco to conjure a snake to scare Harry, and the text says Snape is enjoying the moment. The love protection occurs only because Snape asked Voldemort to spare Lily so he could have her all to himself and allow a father and a baby boy to die. I think if he hadn't called Lily a mudblood, there was potential for him not to have joined the Death Eaters, but the fact is that he did those things. I do think after he calls Lily a mudblood, he regrets that moment so much, and I don't think he ever uses the word again. There was no one left in his life anymore except the students who would become Death Eaters, so that's the path he chose. He didn't have to choose that path, though. So in summary, Snape is a tragic character who led a miserable life, but it's no excuse to take his pain out on children. I also think that his love for Lily wasn't pure, it was more of a lust. If he truly loved her, he wouldn't have asked Voldemort to spare her in exchange for her husband and child. If he truly loved her, he wouldn't have wanted her to go through all the pain of losing them. So I think it's more possessive and selfish. All that being said, I think he's the second best character in the series after Dumbledore, and he's extremely entertaining to read in the books. And then she edited it to say, so I was thinking about this some more, and I actually think Snape was a bad person. All the good things he did were for selfish reasons. All his good actions were wrapped up in guilt and regret, but he was still doing it for himself and not for the Wizarding World's benefit. If Voldemort had killed anyone else other than Lily, he wouldn't have cared to fight against Voldemort's grand plan, and he would have remained a Death Eater.
100%.
Wow.
That,
Wow.
yeah.
That was
Katie nailed it. Wow. So Katie's opinion kind of reflects mine quite a bit. So I think I'm just going to give my whole reason why I think he's a bad person.
Katie, right on. Katie,
Like,
yeah.
that is, yeah. Wow. Just mic drop. Katie, take a bow. So I do agree with this. I think that he is a great character because, we can say that, his decisions in the first place to join the Death Eaters, what he said to Lily, and his mistakes we can just sum it up to him being a dumb kid. He was young. You make stupid mistakes when you're that age. Fair enough. Whatever. Everything after that, though, he did good, but it's hard to argue it one way or another because a lot of it was Dumbledore's doing. What was Dumbledore's doing and what was his choice? We don't know, so you can't really argue that.
Excuse me.
And then his hatred towards Harry is just, unjustified to begin with.
How could he have ever liked Harry?
He didn't have to like Harry, but the fact that he was outright cruel. Like, if he could have just been indifferent. I'm not saying he has to like him, but it's like what you tell your kids, if they're mean, just ignore them. But he just comes right out. I don't fault him for maybe seeing James there and having some resentment, but for the fact that he goes and acts cruelly towards Harry is one of those things that was just not necessary. But I guess you could argue that it was necessary because he was trying to distance himself from Harry so that maybe Voldemort didn't catch on or anything like that.
I think that's potentially a part of it, but I don't think it's all of it, for sure.
No. You could argue that. And then obviously...
You could argue that, yeah.
And then the whole thing with Neville, yes, you can argue that it was kind of like past resentment that it could have been Neville who was attacked and Lily would have been fine and all that. The one thing, though, where there is no defense you can really use is his cruelty towards Hermione. Hermione did not do anything that would have warranted his attacks on her.
I don't have a defense at all for what he said to Hermione. I think the only explanation is sometimes people are assholes and say mean shit to people.
And
there is no justification for why he did what he did to Hermione.
There's a partial defense in that if, you know, he's snarky to her in class and everything because she's a know-it-all.
Maybe
and,
she's annoying.
and
Yeah.
whatever, but this was outside of class, totally uncalled for. He just walked out, and, you know, he says,
Yeah, they're
I
all
don't
they're
see
all
any
hanging
difference.
out in the dungeon like before
And it's
class.
another situation where he could have just been indifferent to the situation, and I even said snarky would have been, what do I look like, a healer? Take yourself to Madame Pomfrey or something. But he instead insults her.
Yeah. Yeah.
And why he insulted her, maybe he is just cruel, but my theory is that she's a mudblood. So he has never lost that racism towards mudbloods. And if he were to be left to his own devices without Dumbledore showing him the way and telling him what to do, I think Snape would have gone back to the Death Eaters had Dumbledore not been there. So all of his good actions are simply Dumbledore telling him what to do. And that's why
Patrick's
I
like,
think,
go Bigs, go Bigs.
and that's why I say Snape tips the scale just slightly over to the bad side.
Okay.
And hello, Goro, welcome to the channel. This is the debate about Snape, yes, and Harry Potter. Snape is Harry's real father? Oh, no. We're just debating whether or not he is good or bad. But that would be very interesting if Snape was Harry's father. Isn't there a theory?
He could have been. If he hadn't have messed it up, he could have been. Rowling said it. If he hadn't have made those bad choices, they could have been together. He just made bad choices.
Yeah. Oh, and thank you for the follow, Goro. Appreciate it.
When I think about Snape's hatred for Harry, I was thinking about it the other day, and it actually very much reminds me of Catelyn's hatred for Jon Snow.
Mm-hmm.
And you crawl inside Catelyn's head about Jon Snow. I find it very difficult to believe that you could expect someone in that position to ever be able to not even just like the person, but be nice to them. I just don't.
He doesn't have to be nice, though. He just has to not be mean.
I think that's an extremely high expectation to have. I'm not saying he's justified in his cruelty, but I'm saying the expectation for him not to be is very high. I think it's a little ridiculous to expect him to be able to do that, given everything that has happened.
I don't think so.
Yeah, I get that, but I don't think he was capable. I literally don't think he was capable of
Because
I think
deep
about
down, when we see that glimpse of his character, he's really a bad guy.
I don't think so.
Just because he is a good guy doesn't
Boys will be
mean he
boys
is
then,
good
just an
guy.
excuse for bad behavior. That's not what I'm saying. I'm saying I think the trauma has broken him and rendered him incapable of being better in that way. I don't think he's capable of that.
I will say, though, if Goro can prove that Snape is Harry's father, that would be very interesting.
All right,
just because there's a lot of descriptions of him looking like his father. But I'm sorry,
I think ego is very much. I think ego is very much at play. Like, you take Catelyn, when Ned Stark brings Jon Snow home, and then he's like, By the way, this is Jon Snow. He's my son with another woman. Let's raise him. Here, now this person is in your house to remind you every single day of the fact that Ned Stark cheated on you with somebody else, and now you have to raise this child, and it's in your face all the time. And Catelyn is mean to him, and she can't bring herself to ever be nice to him. She is out and out
Yeah,
mean
but
to him.
the difference is that Snape was never with Lily.
I'm saying the ego thing is there. It's an ego thing. He's literally looking at the product of something that he could have had were it not for his own idiocy, stupidity, racism, bad choices. And not only did the person that you love get with someone else, but got with someone else who was extremely cruel to you. And here it is every day, that reminder. Oh, and also, you know, you have to protect this person and keep them safe and this and that. Um I think it's ego. I think it's all ego. That's why he's mean to Harry. Hermione, I think, is different. Neville, I think it's a different
But
thing.
I mean, that just shows a
But
lack of maturity, though, on Snape's part. That
well,
he can't move past it.
yeah, he can't move past it.
Yeah.
He's broken.
But at a certain point,
I'm
that stops becoming an excuse.
not saying it's an excuse.
Okay, so why do you think he's a good person?
Let's get through the rest of
Okay,
these first.
Okay, so
Of course, lots of people have bad childhoods and don't end up like Snape. It's all about choices. I do think as the story goes on, the deeper he gets in with Dumbledore, yes, he has choices, but those choices become extremely limited.
I did see at what point did Snape try to kill Harry or protect him, but with that is when Snape was protecting Harry, it was on Dumbledore's orders. So I feel like that argument just has to be thrown out because we can't know for sure whether or not that was Snape's choice to protect Harry or if he was doing it for Dumbledore.
I think you get a glimpse in 7 where
And hi, Maddie.
where Snape and Dumbledore are chatting, and Dumbledore he's trying to fix his hand after he put on the ring.
Mm-hmm.
Because Dumbledore couldn't help himself. He had to put it on.
Had to see his
He just had to do
mom
it.
and sister.
He just had to, Dumbledore, you dingus. I think that conversation there gives you a little bit of insight into, I think by that point, I don't think Snape is just taking orders and just doing it because Dumbledore he's like really upset about Dumbledore. He the whole thing about finding out he has to kill Dumbledore. He's like, I'm not fucking doing that. I'm not effing doing that. No, blah blah blah. You know, I think you get a glimpse of some of the friction, I think, over the years with him working for Dumbledore, and I think maybe this is just a gut feeling, but how I read the text is I think his relationship with Dumbledore evolves over the years. I think him and Dumbledore kind of develop a bond. I don't think it's ever just, I'm using you to use you, and I'm doing what you tell me to do just because. I think it evolves further from there.
But see, I'm just saying that I'm not disagreeing with it, but I'm saying it's speculation.
Well, it's all up
From
to
how we-
interpretation, isn't it? The whole thing is up to interpretation. That's how I would interpret it.
Kind of, but also no.
Kind of, but also no.
Yeah.
Why not?
Because what we know for a fact is that he was following Dumbledore's orders to protect Harry, and
Right.
yeah.
But the thing with Dumbledore's hand and having to kill Dumbledore, those are exclusive Dumbledore issues,
Yeah.
right?
So what do they have to do with Harry?
I'm not talking about Harry. I'm saying I don't think it was always purely he's just following Dumbledore's orders just because he has to follow. I think it evolved past that point
But
where
I
he
mean,
genuinely was doing those things because he felt like those were the right things to do.
I don't know. I
And
don't think so.
and had developed that relationship with Dumbledore. That's what I'm saying. I'm not talking about hating Harry. I'm talking about working for Dumbledore.
Yeah.
I
But
think,
everything was still Dumbledore's plan that he did.
well, yeah.
So he's still just doing Dumbledore's orders. Like, I'm not
I
saying
don't
that
think
they
you're
didn't
getting what
develop a
I don't think you're
relationship.
getting what I'm saying. I feel what I'm saying is
Are
that
you saying that Dumbledore and Snape worked together on their decisions?
no, I'm saying that I don't think it was just I don't have any choices. I have to do what Dumbledore says. I think it evolved into I am agreeing and going along with Dumbledore's plan because I'm in alliance with it and I think these are the right things to do. I don't think maybe it started that way, but I think it ends up that way.
I don't know. I think Dumbledore was making his plans in a way that Snape would agree with them. I think Dumbledore was smart enough to do that so that he kind of manipulated Snape in ways to align with
I'm
him.
just saying I think if Snape was just following orders and didn't really buy into what Dumbledore was selling, I don't think he would be so emotionally charged about all the things that happened. I think he was genuinely really upset to lose Dumbledore. I think he was genuinely upset about that.
Oh, yeah. Like, I don't doubt that he grew a relationship with Dumbledore, but I think Dumbledore was still using him. And I think
Well, Dumbledore
everything,
uses everybody.
and Snape was just following Dumbledore's orders, whether he knew it or not. I think Dumbledore manipulated him in a way that he followed the orders.
So he won him over to the side. He won him over to the cause.
Mm,
That's what I'm saying. I think
no,
Dumbledore
I
won him
think,
over.
I don't know.
That's what I'm trying to say. I mean, yeah, he followed the orders, but I think he didn't sit there begrudgingly like, well, I'm gonna do this because I got to now. I think it evolved past that. I wonder if Snape just went along with Dumbledore's orders to destroy Voldemort in the end, as he was the one to kill Lily. Maybe it wasn't for the cause, but more for revenge.
Well, when Snape taught them himself, he doesn't really have an excuse for that. Wait, taught what himself? Did I miss something?
I don't know. We also have more of these to read. Harry was extremely successful in his 6th year. How come not all his students do so when Snape taught them himself? He doesn't really have an excuse for that. Well, I'm
Well,
just gonna throw it out there. I don't think Snape wanted to be a teacher.
I don't think so
I
either.
actually think he hated it.
I think
That's probably why.
if I was going to make an excuse for that, I would say it's strictly from our perspective. Because Neville, obviously, Snape does not like Neville.
Right.
Maybe it's because Neville was bad at potions, and then Snape hated him, and then
And
Neville
it
got
like it just
more
spun out of control.
this
Like
negative feedback loop of
maybe
terror.
yeah, maybe Neville initially sucked and Snape hates teaching. I genuinely think Snape hates teaching.
Yeah.
And he's just like and then it just fed into itself. No, Snape was not a good teacher because he didn't want to be one. He's forced into the role. I think he's a teacher because he has to be.
Yeah.
That's it. You know, he did not choose. I am going to grow up and I'm going to teach children oceans. No, no, he didn't want to do that. Not at all. That's why he sucked. He wasn't a good teacher.
No, he wasn't.
But it's interesting that you see the dichotomy of Harry's perspective on potions and how terrible it is, and Neville and Hermione and all of
Yeah.
that.
But we saw. So let me just finish my thought. We saw Neville and his awful experience in potions.
Yeah.
Harry, obviously. Hermione, for whatever reason, probably partially because she was a know-it-all, and Snape,
Yeah.
kind of glorified himself on the fact that he was the greatest at potions ever. And then you have her kind of trying to overshadow him. I'm sure it's a shot at his ego a bit, but
Maybe there's also like a little Lily reminder there. Slughorn was like, "Oh, Lily was brilliant at potions. Lily was Muggle bored." Maybe there's a little bit of Liliness in Hermione, but annoying.
maybe.
I'm not saying I buy that.
You
I'm
would-
saying
you would
you
think
could
of-
you could argue that though.
Yeah.
You could make that argument. Well,
You would
Hermione
think
has
maybe he
some
would be-
Lily qualities.
You would think then maybe he would be a bit nicer. But
But
either way, we
but
see
maybe
those.
she's so obnoxious that it just grinds his gears, and he's just.
Either way, we see that from those perspectives. So obviously Snape is going to be a bad teacher. We don't actually see how the other students are faring in potions. So
No, we don't.
some of the other students may say that he was a great teacher and that they learned a lot and they went
Right,
on
like,
to succeed at
What,
potions.
say, for example, would Draco Malfoy say about his potions class experience?
Yeah. So
Maybe Draco Malfoy learned a lot.
I think I'm gonna leave Draco out because I think he's on the other side of the spectrum where he was kind of like pampered and Snape kind of
Well, catered to him.
yeah.
You also have, with Draco, Snape spends the entirety of Book 6 trying to help him and protect him via Dumbledore, but also doing the Death Eater walk with Draco, but trying to help him and protect him. Like, what a weird slippery slope that is. Because Snape knows what Draco's been ordered to do. Because he probably was at the meeting with Voldemort. And then he sits down with Dumbledore, and Dumbledore tells him, Draco's gonna try to kill me. So it's like this big hot mess with Draco. With Snape's got like the Voldemort line of the Draco mission, and then he's got the Dumbledore side of the Draco mission. And he very much genuinely tries, I think, to help him and protect him as much as he can.
Well, I think the whole reason for that
And-
was
and-
Dumbledore wanted to protect Draco from doing something he was going to regret the rest of his life
Well,
because
yeah.
Dumbledore knows how that is.
Yeah,
And,
yeah, absolutely.
I mean, Dumbledore was going to die no matter what that year
Yeah.
because of putting on the ring. So he was just like, "Yep, Snape, kill me, man."
Also, that's a big ask for somebody. I'm just saying, like, you're gonna need to kill me. That is a huge ask to ask someone to do that. Oh yes, plus the unbreakable vow, right?
All right, so this is kind of off the topic, but that's interesting that Goro brings up. Couldn't Harry have went to where his mom's ghost was and summoned her presence, used the resurrection stone, cast Vulnera Senenture to bring the blood back to her body? I don't know what that spell is. Is that a spell? I'm guessing it's like one of the unforgivable ones. And cast Ferula to summon bandages around all of her wounds. Prove me wrong. Well, I don't know what the exact spells are for that, so I will just assume that you're correct in those spells. Well, number one, that we know with the resurrection stone is that it can't fully bring back the person. It's just the presence of that. They're still dead to the world, basically.
Yeah, he doesn't summon her ghost with the stone. It's not her ghost.
It kind of is. It kind of tears her away from the past, so she's not fully
But she's not really
in the
a
world,
ghost,
and she's
though.
not. Yeah, she's not dead. She's in this weird state where they're just unhappy that we talk about. So already right there, Harry probably doesn't want to do that to his mother. And then the whole blood thing and everything, it kind of sounds like in Fury. It's probably a lot of dark magic
And necromancy type stuff. Yeah,
Yeah.
Harry would never.
So number
Harry would
one,
never.
Harry just probably doesn't know
How to
about
do
any of
that.
And number two, I don't think Harry would do it, even if he did know. the
Plus-
spells, and he knew he could do that.
Plus, she's been dead a long time. There's no blood there anymore.
Well, I guess that's what the spell is for. It,
Oh.
like, puts blood back into your
Oh.
body or something.
Dan Williams says, Dumbledore says, "I will not have that boy's soul ripped on my behalf." And Snape says, "And what about my soul?" And Dumbledore says,
Dumbledore's like, well, you better be remorseful.
and no, Dumbledore says, "Only you know if helping an old man avoid pain will harm you."
Yeah.
Dumbledore also tells him one time, Severus, I think we sort too soon sometimes.
It's very true.
Mm-hmm.
Very true.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, and the bandages are to hold her together. The blood would be your life for it. Yeah. So you could bring back her physically, but you would never be able to bring back her soul completely. So she's like this zombie, basically.
Also, she's got to be pretty... I mean, Harry's 17. She's been in the ground for a while. Her corpse is not looking good.
I mean, she's a skeleton at this point.
Yeah. And right, she's not technically a ghost when she's summoned. She's not a ghost in the sense of Nearly Headless Nick is a ghost, or we know Ravenclaw is a ghost. She's not...
Yeah.
She's not a ghost. Oh, hello, Mike. Welcome.
Hey, Mike.
I will also pose the argument that I don't think Snape's love for Lily was entirely selfish, lustful, as toxic, and as it's painted to me. I think it's a little more complicated than that.
I don't think so.
I think she was a representation of everything that's good.
Yeah.
And here's this guy living a life, kid, where up until he meets her, there's not really any good going on in his life. He's not seeing examples of what being good is, right?
Right.
His abusive parents and all that stuff. Then he meets Lily, and he sees what good is. And he obviously falls in love with her, right? But it's something to aspire to be.
Mm-hmm.
And I think it's something that he tries for and repeatedly fails at multiple times. She represents the good he can never attain and the good he can never be at that level. And I think he genuinely does love, like when they're kids, I think he genuinely does love her. And he ruins it, right? And I don't think he can ever forgive
That's an
him.
understatement.
He truly loved her, wishing she was his, but he also loved her as a best friend.
Yeah.
Like, they were best friends. She put up with him for a long time and gave him lots of chances for a reason. They were friends. So when you say, oh, the love was toxic, it was this, it was that, well, they were also very good friends, and she was his only friend for a very long time. And then who did his other friends become? These Death Eater people. And he gets this really negative influence, and then he loses the one true good friend he had through his actions.
Oh.
That might be that by... Let's try not to turn Snape into the guy in Lolita. God, no. You're okay. So I don't buy that it was just pure selfish lust. I think the reason why he's so stuck on it is because he messed it up, and then through his actions, she dies. I think he just...
No, I don't think it was lust, but I think it's kind of an obsession.
I think it became something he could not move on from.
Mm-hmm.
Because of what happened. But I don't think it necessarily would have stayed that way had he not literally caused them to die. Do you know what I mean? I think that death and his role in that death just cemented it in that something he
Yeah.
can't. It's his unforgivable sin that he just can't forgive himself for.
So,
That's why it
so
looks like obsessive toxic love. I don't think it's obsessive toxic love. I think it's remorse and regret. And he can't forgive himself.
but
I don't
then
think it's that simple. I
then
don't
you
think
could
that it was just lust. Voldemort says it was just lust because Voldemort doesn't understand what love is.
yeah, that's true. Unless you count him and Nagini. He definitely loves Nagini.
She chose not to dance with him at the school dance and he got upset. So I don't think it's that simple. I think they had a genuinely very close bond. I think he really loved her. I think she loved him in a friend capacity.
Yeah.
Rowling has stated, had he made different choices, they could have ended up together. So it wasn't lustful, toxic, obsessive. It was genuine, and he ruined it. And he ruined it again in a big way by making her dead. Inadvertently through Voldemort. Yeah. And it's just that unforgivable sin that it's like Dumbledore and his family. He just can't forgive himself for it.
Yeah.
Which spurs him to keep fighting the good fight. I need to do everything I can to atone for what I did by making her dead. Because I'll never be able to forgive myself, so I must it's almost like a self-flagellation thing too. I must continuously keep going because I can't forgive myself for this, so I'm going to punish myself for the rest of my life to atone for the sin that I've committed. And that's that.
I don't know. Because it's just one of those things. Would he have done any of that had Dumbledore not kind of locked him in this forever purgatory between him and Voldemort?
Would he have done what?
You know, if he wasn't in Dumbledore's debt, would he have done any of those good things to repent for it?
I think it's possible. I don't think we'll ever know, but I think it's possible. I don't see how Snape could have continued to serve Voldemort once that had happened. I don't see how he would have been able to go back. I think it was the slap in the face moment of whatever it was he needed. I don't know, but
yeah, but
um,
Snape is the type of person I think that would just kind of like have a pity party the rest of his life. Maybe he would join the Death Eaters, but I don't think he would have done anything to repent.
Maybe he wouldn't have done anything to repent, but he definitely would have tortured himself.
Oh yeah, no
he
doubt.
would have tortured himself for the rest of his life. But he doesn't do that. He does go to Dumbledore. He could have done that anyway. He could have told Dumbledore, "I'm not doing this anymore. I am just going to sit in Spinner's End and hate everything for the rest of my life and not." Or could have
Katie
whatever.
does bring up a good point. He did go to Voldemort and ask him to spare her life.
Yep.
But he was fine with James and Harry dying.
I think his hatred for James was just that big. I really do.
Right, but it's okay to have, I get even hate someone. That's fine. But to the point where you're willing to risk their life? No.
How do you tell the guy you're serving who you told the prophecy to? Okay. You told Voldemort the prophecy. And Voldemort is like, I'm going to interpret it as, that's the Potters. I'm going to go kill the Potters. Because Voldemort has chosen Harry as the person he needs to kill.
Mm-hmm.
Then how do you, as the person who provided the information, then go and say, hey, you know that baby you're going to kill? The one who's going to stop you and ruin everything for you? How about you don't do that? How does that not arise suspicion in Voldemort's mind? Like, why don't you want me to kill the baby? That I have to kill the baby if I'm going to succeed. How as a follower do you then go, don't kill the baby, even though the whole point is to
But
kill
the fact
the
that
baby?
he didn't switch sides then kind of shows. Like, he went to Dumbledore and told him, and they hit him, but Snape didn't do anything other than that. He just told Dumbledore, and then was like, all right, let the pieces fall where they may.
Well, Dan, Voldemort didn't give her the option to walk away. Katie, I think Voldemort is a person that does not change his mind, and Snape knew this, so asking to spare Lily was the only thing he could do. That's also a fair point. Why argue to save James and Harry when Voldemort's not going to do that anyway? You know that's what I'm saying. How do you ask Voldemort to spare Harry, who Voldemort sees as his only obstacle? Why even ask the question? There's no point. You're not going to change his mind.
I'm just saying, I think...
And also, then Voldemort would be like, why? Why are you asking me to spare his life? Snape knows Voldemort well enough, though. He can't just be like, yeah, how about don't kill Harry? Voldemort is not gonna... If anything, he'd probably torture the crap out of him for even suggesting it. Because there's no point in asking the question.
Fair enough.
Snape tried to switch sides at the point of Lily being murdered. Dumbledore ordered Snape to continue in service of the dark side. Why even ask to save Lily? He knew Lily wouldn't walk away. I think it was like desperation.
Yeah, definitely.
It was like he knows, oh my god, I just spilled the beans and now Voldemort's gonna go kill them. Lily's gonna die. I ruined that relationship, and now because of me she's gonna die. Don't kill her. You know, I think it was a desperate what do I do moment. I don't think he was thinking clearly about it at all. I think it was just,
well, obviously not, otherwise he wouldn't have done it in the first place.
And
but as they say, ignorance of the law is no excuse.
What?
I'm saying ignorance is no excuse for the end result.
I'm not saying
he still did what he did.
Right. I'm saying that.
I'm just saying in general. I'm not arguing anything you just said.
No, I'm just stating that's why he didn't ask Voldemort to save Harry and James. There's no point in asking for it.
Yeah.
That's all.
Yeah.
There was no reason for it.
I already said I agree.
Yeah, it was a desperate question to ask Voldemort save her. I think it was just purely desperate to go. Don't argue against Lexa.
All right, let's jump to another.
Let's read the next one. Yeah.
All right, let's see.
You want to read this one?
Sure. Alexandria Aguirre says, he supported the dark side entirely. He only cared when it was Lily. Had it been literally anyone else, he would have never cared. He proves this by the way he treats other children, especially the Muggleborn. He proves it because he only had remorse when he found out who Voldemort wanted dead. Had Voldemort chosen Neville, then Snape wouldn't have done shit to help the Order. He wasn't in love. He was infatuated. He was a slimeball.
He was a slime ball.
It's actually appropriate that we just had the conversation we had because it kind of goes along with it.
We kind of did delve into this a little bit, yeah.
And yeah, we talk about Lily and how he protected Lily and Harry, but the way he treats like other people, it does show his character too. Like without anything to sway his moral compass, whether that be Dumbledore, Voldemort, Lily, Harry. Those children he treats like crap. That's what was like my with Hermione. That was my one thing that I take away from that. Is Hermione is the thing that pushed me over to the side of bad with him, because he was gray and then comes out at Hermione for no reason.
Maybe I'm just a terrible person, but I think it just... I just think sometimes people say mean things even when they shouldn't say mean things.
When you're a teacher, you can't say that to kids, though.
You shouldn't.
If you're saying it to one of your peers, fine. But
Although there
honestly,
are plenty of instances
if you're a
where...
30-year-old man speaking to a teenager like that, there is something seriously messed up with you.
Oh, he's got it. Well, he's got issues. The grease in his hair made him a slime ball.
Slime ball, figuratively, literally.
Literally. How can he be a good person if he treats children like that? No excuse.
That's my biggest thing with him. That's what kind of pushes me over, is the way he treats the children. Everything else I can kind of maybe not understand fully, but I can rationalize why he would act like that. But like there's some malice within him. I guess true character.
You think so?
Yeah.
I don't think so.
Let's see.
I can read the next one.
Yeah, this one has some comments on.
Yeah, some people actually commented on this one. All right, so John said, so my take is that Snape didn't love Lily. He was obsessed with a girl that didn't want him back. When you love someone, you don't go full incel when rejected and join up with the Nazis and help kill innocent people. The only reason he came back to the good side was because he was responsible for putting the girl he was obsessed with in danger. Essentially, he only switched because of his own self-interest. Had Neville been targeted instead, Snape would still be helping Voldemort torture and kill innocent people. In the end, did he do some good? Sure, but only to the extent of a soldier fulfilling their duties to their superiors. Nothing more. One good deed does not make up for a lifetime of being absolutely horrible to people and even students. Snape knew how badly Neville's parents were tortured into insanity, and instead of showing some remorse for being part of that group, he tortures Neville mentally for his entire time at Hogwarts to the point where Snape is Neville's boggart. That's terrifying because a teacher should never be a boggart. That means Neville feared Snape more than Voldemort, more than Bellatrix, and many more. People also say that, well, Snape is a victim because James bullied him, which
is kind of true.
It is true, but
You know, let's finish this comment and then we'll talk about it, because I do have some things to say on that.
Yeah, James did bully him, but Snape hung out with future Death Eaters who used dark magic on kids in school, and the only reason Lily dated James is because, unlike Snape, James changed his behavior and became a great person. It got to the point where James wanted to reconcile with Snape and apologize to him, even at the time of being Voldemort's right-hand man. That shows true bravery in James. When did that happen? Lastly, the main characters all represent better versions of the past characters. Harry is James, Hermione is Lupin, Ron is Sirius, Neville is Peter, and lastly, Luna is Snape. Luna was bullied a lot and picked on, but instead of letting it get her down, she ignored it and was nice to everyone regardless. She even made a lion hat to cheer for Gryffindor, even though she's in Ravenclaw. She represents everything Snape wasn't, and so does Neville. Snape is no hero, he just helped in a war and did the bare minimum under Dumbledore's orders. I really
like the comparison of Luna and Snape, though.
I think the difference between Luna and Snape is that Luna has a very loving, stable home to come back to. And then the comments were all of this, eloquently put.
You can click back on that if you want.
Alexandria Aguirre, I think so. I've been wanting to get this all out for a long time, but people tend to keep saying the phrase always a lot to make him seem like the true hero of the story when he literally isn't. Honestly, I like this comment. I think it might have changed my opinion.
And I do agree. I think that comment was very eloquently put. It was written very well. I do want to touch on the whole bullying thing, though, because obviously that's a big part of Snape's whole character arc. And well, I do feel for Snape. You know, he grew up in a bad household. he grew up with bullies at school,
Mm-hmm.
and all this. It kind of goes back to what I was saying in the beginning, like his decisions earlier on and stuff like that. I don't use them as an argument just because he was young. He did have that trauma to go off of himself.
Mm-hmm.
But, you know, at a certain point, you can't use it as an excuse anymore. Like at a certain
No,
point,
you can't. It's like you're saying, well, I do drugs because my parents were mean to me when I was a kid, or I feel this way because my parents were mean to me when I was a kid.
Or,
Well,
you
at
know,
some
maybe-
point, it's your own choices. It's not just
Yeah.
what happened to you in the past.
like maybe you were traumatized by something that happened to a kid, but at a certain point, it's left up to you to choose to get help and overcome those vices or just succumb to them. And I think Snape chose to succumb to them. He never really got over that.
I think he never got over it, and it's compounded by the fact that he drove the woman he loved into the arms of his bully, and then they had a child, and I just think he couldn't handle it. I don't think he could take it.
Well, that's why I said, like, the earlier stuff is hard to argue because he has that mental trauma and all those difficulties to deal with.
Lucas said, also, let's not forget Snape was a badass double agent.
He was. Okay, let's say something good about Snape real quick. I mean, the man was the perfect double agent, the perfect spy. He
He
did
was.
everything he was told to do. He did it well.
Mhm.
And he even died without his cover ever being blown.
Yeah.
So in terms of him being the James Bond, well,
Harry.
actually, that's a bad, because James Bond just tells everyone who he is and what he does. So that's a bad one. But for him to be the greatest spy in the wizarding world is 100%
Props.
accurate.
Props.
I will give Snape that.
You gotta really know your stuff to be able to do that.
Yeah.
To be able to battle wits with the greatest legilimens in the world,
Mm-hmm.
that's crazy.
Yeah.
Voldemort can literally crawl through anybody's brain, but not Snape's. He can find all the things. I think Lucas actually made, maybe it was Lucas. There was somewhere in the chat, but somebody said that when Charity Burbage is hanging from the ceiling in 7 before Nagini eats her, she's the Muggle Studies teacher.
Yeah.
She calls Snape her friend.
Yeah.
Maybe they was friends. Maybe they was friends.
Maybe.
I can see it. Why not? Maybe they was friends.
I mean, yeah, but or is that just a desperate plea that maybe Snape would help her?
It wasn't you. Okay, sorry, Lucas. Somebody said it.
I
don't
agree
remember.
with Katie. It doesn't make him a good person. But
Yes,
I
points
feel
for
like,
Snape.
but,
The epitome of a Slytherin.
you know, credit where credit is due. That he did do his job very well.
I also think he genuinely did, not just because he had to, but I think he genuinely was invested in trying to help Draco.
Mm-hmm.
I think he probably did potentially care about Draco, wanted to help him,
Mm-hmm.
and that there could have been that kind of good relationship there. We don't see it because we see everything through Harry.
I mean,
so
there
everything
could have
is
been.
exaggerated because we
'Cause
see
he-
it all through Harry. So you have to always remember that.
He may have saw a bit of himself in Draco and didn't want Draco to make the same bad decisions he
Right.
did.
Those are
But again,
good things.
From what we see, Dumbledore is the one who doesn't want him to make that decision and then tells Snape to do it. So that's another argument that I say is just gray, and we don't really know whether or not Snape was the one who chose to do that. I'd like to believe yes, but at the same time,
I mean, you see him.
we can only go off of what we see and what we knew.
But you see throughout the books that like he favors Draco quite a lot. You see it through Harry's lens, so you're not getting the full picture.
Right, but was that
But-
just because he was in with the Death Eaters? And he wanted to make sure that, you know, Draco is taken care of so he didn't go around telling his dad anything bad about Snape, and then that would cause more attention to be put on him. So Them says he could have chosen either side until the unbreakable vow. Yes and no, just because I think there was a bit of him that was kind of like, well, at this point I'm in so deep, if I decide to betray Dumbledore, Dumbledore could just tell Voldemort what was up, what happened.
Mm-hmm.
And then Voldemort, you know,
well, he was in so deep.
kills Snape. He was in so deep
by book 4 because Voldemort comes back.
So right? I'm just saying he could have chose either side, but I don't think he could have. I think he was in so deep that he couldn't go one way or the other at that point. I think he was like stuck.
I'm saying I think you could argue that there is a vested interest in Draco's well-being.
Oh, I know. I was replying to the comment. I just saw that and I was like, oh, that's kind of what we talked about before.
Voldy wouldn't have trusted a nice guy. I mean, that's accurate.
Mm-hmm.
You do have to play the part.
Yeah.
Snape gave out tough love to try and toughen up Neville so Neville could transform from the meek to the bravest, the school leader. There it goes. Apparently calling Neville sexy is not okay for the feed. I think bad people can genuinely have people they care about. That doesn't make him a good person. Before the unbreakable vow, Snape already knew he had to kill Dumbledore anyway, so it was an easy decision to make.
Mm-hmm.
I don't necessarily mean like throughout all of book 6. I mean throughout the series. I think he has a vested interest in Draco. Maybe he sees some of himself in Draco. He's trying to help him out, you know.
Mm-hmm. I'm just saying that there's equal arguments for that, and that he was just doing it to help keep his cover. That's all. I'm just saying.
I think both are valid arguments, and I think both are valid arguments, and you could choose to see it how you want to see it.
Yeah.
From that perspective.
And I guess giving Snape a little bit more credit and JK a little bit more credit, I think that's why Snape is one of the better characters, because you could see a lot of it is up to interpretation, how you see the situation happen that sways you one way or the other. Mm-hmm. Same with Dumbledore. Like I said, we're going to have a Dumbledore debate.
We are going to have a Dumbledore discussion. Next week, Fantastic Beasts.
Yeah, we're going to have to sit down and watch the Fantastic Beasts movies. All right, so Mr. Not So Funny. Snape and Dumbledore are both very much gray characters, which makes them two of the most interesting characters in the books.
Absolutely.
I just said, yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah, 100%. Like I said, I think they're both extremely gray characters. I think there's just one or two actions that kind of like show their character in a way that sets them over one way or the other. But yes, definitely 100%.
KJK said she loved the question. She just joined our channel a little over a month ago, and she's been listening to the books. She says she considers Severus a good person overall. He did love Lily. He looked after Harry, and Dumbledore loved him. I know Gray is winning, but I disagree.
Okay.
I think... I've always said I personally think he started out pretty rough around the edges. Yes.
I don't know if he wanted to.
I don't know if that's up or where that is. Yeah, you got to get a chair or something. I think Noel is gonna pop in.
Grab him a chair.
I think Noel is gonna pop in and put his 2 cents in on the Snape discussion. I think Snape's redemption arc evolves throughout. When you look at his life start to finish, I think the good I think the good increases with time throughout the series. I think Snape does things for the side of good for selfish reasons, but Dumbledore actually cares about the wizarding world as a whole. Decoy Octopus said, "The world isn't split into good people and Death Eaters. We've all got some light and dark inside us. What matters is the part we choose to act on. That's who we truly are."
I disagree. You're either a saint or you're evil. You're Satan. End of story.
Um,
Just kidding, by the way. I agree.
and Dan actually said he thinks Harry gets the try for some remorse idea for his speech against Voldy in the end because of Snape's final moments, and seeing that Snape was remorseful for everything he did, that would be considered evil.
All right.
So we've been knee deep in
Yeah.
Snape debate. So
Yes.
before we go on, how about we just, if you have any opinions on Snape, why don't we just give the floor to you and you can
go for it.
Okay.
let us know your opinions on Snape.
Wow. I mean, we're talking about a complex character.
Oh yeah.
We're talking about the best character in this. I mean, he's just a great figure in this story, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
Um,
we're just talking about
My
that. He's just
favorite.
one of the best.
My
Him and
favorite.
Dumbledore are almost
they're
the same
yeah,
and
neck and neck.
the
Yeah.
greatest of characters and
Mhm.
just written so well.
Yeah, I almost think we could do a Dumbledore debate that could
We-
be just as deep as this.
We're gonna do a
Yeah.
Dumbledore debate. You didn't scroll my comment onto the screen. Oh, sorry. I can't scroll it. You do it. I can't do it. Anyway.
Excuse me.
Yep.
Yeah. I guess my perspective is when I was reading the books before they were all out, I was like, this guy's bad. This guy is bad, evil to the core.
Mm-hmm.
And then as you learn more about what motivated him,
Mm-hmm.
which was his love for Lily,
Mm-hmm.
you kind of start to see, you can't just paint with such a broad brush anymore when you know all the evidence. You know what I mean? So it's really tough to say. I mean, I think that's why we're having this debate, because it's a really.
Do you sway one way or
thorny
the
issue.
other, or do you just say like you're?
I'm on Team Gray.
Team Gray?
Yeah, I'm on Team Gray. I don't know if I could say he's good or bad. I think he's got elements of both.
I mean, I agree. There's just one or two things that puts him over for me. So
Okay, what I'm curious to know, because
I won't go through my whole tirade of everything I talked about Snape, because it basically comes down to he's a gray character up until his incident with Hermione
remind me of this. Is that where he berates her for
her teeth.
right?
And he says,
oh yeah,
I
don't.
see no-
Yeah,
I don't
I
see
I
it.
see no difference.
Draco
Yeah,
makes her teeth
right.
grow really long.
I see no difference. Yeah, that's just come on, dude.
Right, it's one of those situations where you can argue with like Harry or Neville or stuff like that. There's reasons he may have resentment towards them and be cruel to them, but for
But
Hermione,
what did she ever do?
yeah, there was no reason for him to be
That
mean to
mean.
her.
Yeah,
You could
And-
also argue sometimes people maybe he went back later and was like, oh, maybe I shouldn't have said that.
yeah. I mean,
You
maybe
don't
he
know.
woke up on the wrong side of the bed that day.
It's true.
Obviously,
You know, some
he woke up on the bad side of the gray bed.
the great thing.
But I hear you though. That's a really an unnecessary thing to do, and
But are you going to then determine that that person is bad because they said one bad thing to somebody one time?
bad
Well-
maybe not, but a jerk. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
But bad.
but he's
But
But a bad person.
but he's also consistently mean to a lot of students, and I'm saying
Right.
those other students that he's mean to, you can
Katie
almost
just goes-
find reasons for it or rationalize it. But with Hermione, it kind of shows a glimpse of his true character, and that maybe
hmm
all those interactions with those students aren't because of those other reasons.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. I mean, yeah, he's just nasty to everyone, isn't he?
Well, that's the
Yeah.
thing. He's really not very nice to. But by the same token, he's not very nice to anyone. But you see it through Harry's lens. Harry is. You're
yeah.
getting everything through this really biased view of
Biased,
Harry.
yeah.
So maybe some of these instances are a little over exaggerated because
Mm-hmm.
it's Harry, his lens.
Right. And like,
So always grain of salt with that. Oh yes, I'm on the team good side. I am hook, line, and sinker for that redemption arc, man.
Yeah.
I was all about that redemption arc. Also because I think when you read book 7, you have instances of almost every character engaging in some kind of redemptive action for the bad things that they've done. Even Wormtail engages in redemptive action.
That's true.
Even Percy.
But Wormtail.
And Percy too.
I was a fool.
I
love that.
I know. He just bursts through the room of requirement. I was a fool. And Mrs. Weasley just
I know.
Oh, what a good moment.
But yeah.
I think I'm not one of those bandwagon always people. I think the always thing is actually a little obnoxious. It's a little much. But I'm here for that redemption arc. I think he evolved into the good side of things.
Sorry.
I did too for the longest time.
God, me too.
You got to appreciate where his story ended up.
It was a great arc.
Yeah.
It was absolutely a great arc. And I think there's some similarity between Snape switching sides and what Regulus did. Both Regulus and Snape had these moments where these revelations hit them and they were like, whoa, hold up.
Yeah, this is crazy.
For Snape, it was Lily. For Regulus, it was, holy crap, he's making Horcruxes. This is terrible. And he's treating Creature like garbage. I will not stand for this.
Yeah.
The difference is, Regulus died. Very horribly.
Well, also the difference is Regulus was always kind to Creature. He was always showing those, the kindness of himself in some way or another. He was just hiding it from his parents.
Well, yeah. You don't think Snape was ever nice? I'm sure Snape was nice. We don't see it.
Nice to Draco.
Right. He's nice to people. I'm sure he was nice to people at school. I'm sure he was. We just don't see it.
I think he sees Draco.
Not that he's like always nice. I'm not trying to argue that he's like a nice person. He's a jerkwad a lot of the time.
I was just gonna say, I think Draco is an interesting, cog in this machine, especially in the 6th book, where Draco's trying to prove himself as a Death Eater, right?
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
And Snape, I think Snape kind of sees himself, or what he could have been in Draco, and he's like, "Yo, kid, you don't want to be doing this," basically, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And they both came from Death Eater families or Death Eater adjacent families. And I don't think we ever know about Draco having a great love or anything to shake him out of that ideology like Snape did.
I think Draco is shaken out of it. In 6, I think, is Draco's struggle with it.
Yeah.
His family expectation that this is what we do and this is what we believe, and he's got to try to kill Dumbledore.
Right.
I think he just struggles with that. And then fast forward to 7, he's sitting at the table and he's staring up at Charity Burbage and he's like horrified.
Yeah. And then of course their showdown, Harry and Draco's showdown in Malfoy Manor. That's a very biblical moment. It's almost like Peter denying Jesus 3 times. Oh, yeah.
I think they asked Draco, are you sure?
Right.
I think they asked him 3 times.
That's
you
crazy.
Sure that's not Harry?
That's crazy.
It's very biblical, and Draco denies it. I don't think so.
But the whole point of Draco being given the mission to kill Dumbledore, that was Dumbledore's plan, right? Because then Draco would wind up with the Elder Wand. Am I getting that mixed up?
No, it was supposed to be Snape to end up with the Elder Wand.
Okay.
But because Draco disarmed him before Snape got there,
it turned out to be for Draco. Got it.
Which ended up saving the entire plot everything. Otherwise Voldemort probably would have succeeded.
Yeah.
Voldemort choosing Draco to kill Dumbledore was punishment for Lucius's failings.
I see. Right.
Draco was never meant to succeed. It was all about...
It was like a torture.
It was about torturing Lucius and Narcissa.
Right.
It had nothing to do with actually killing Dumbledore.
He was just lamb to the slaughter.
Voldemort was being an asshole. He's good at that.
Yeah. That's his strong suit.
I'm going to throw down some notes I made. Dan Williams said... Snape was an abused child. His mother was also abused. Snape was insecure, wearing his parents' clothes. I guess it depends on what your interpretation of a good person is. Is it help saving the world and being a hero, but at the same time treating children terribly? Yeah, why not?
Well,
For
that's
the
the classic
greater
question.
good.
Like, do the ends justify the means?
Do the ends
right?
justify the means? You could say the same thing with Dumbledore.
I was just gonna say,
Or
Dumbledore
is pulling all the strings and manipulating
Is that
people.
good?
Look what Dumbledore did to Sirius. That was
Yeah.
horrible.
That's true. But this isn't the Dumbledore debate.
I'm
We'll
just
save
saying, you know,
That's just an example.
That's an example
Yeah.
of that whole
Yeah.
thing. You could argue either way.
I don't know. The whole
Bullied
good,
by his
bad
peers,
thing.
did what he was expected of him, loyal to his duty, even if it was bad. Also, once you're a Death Eater and you want to get out, how the hell do you get out? You know,
Right.
that's hard. It's
Just
like
when
being
you-
in a. It's
yeah.
like being in a gang.
Yeah,
You get
just
out.
when you think you're out.
There's only one way out, in a snake belly.
Yeah. Right.
Or you're
One
gonna
cool-
be sleeping with the fishes. Right?
One
What they say?
Sleeping with the giant squid.
Yes.
who may or may not be Godric Gryffindor,
I don't
stuck
know
in
this.
Animagus form.
Oh, whoa. Oh.
Yeah,
There's-
we're gonna have to have a video on that. That's great.
One cool thing to think about is a hero would sacrifice you for the world, and a villain would sacrifice the world for you. That's an
I've never
interesting.
heard that.
That's I like that. That's cool.
That's neat. That's neat.
Albus was a monster just as much as Snape. Whoa! Shots fired.
Shots fired. Yeah, I mean, yeah, we just said it, you know.
But like Regulus, when Snape realized how bad the dark side was, he tried to get out. He definitely felt remorse, and remorse requires bravery.
I mean, we can't deny his courage.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's one thing that isn't up for debate.
Yeah.
There is a reason why Dumbledore says, "I think we sort too soon."
And there's a reason why Harry says at the end, I named you after the bravest man I know, and not the nicest man I know.
Well, yeah.
Right. Yeah, he was one of the bravest. Right. Yeah.
Yeah. Because we were talking about it before you got back.
All right,
is-
Katie said Dumbledore did all these things not for himself, but for the benefit of the wizarding world. How was keeping somebody with extreme PTSD who was imprisoned for over a decade for something he didn't do, and then keeping him locked up in the childhood home where he was abused and completely isolated? How is that for the good of the wizarding world, Dumbledore? Just saying.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm just throwing that out there. The first Quidditch match, the first time Harry was put in danger, Snape used his extensive abilities to protect Harry.
That is true. That is true.
Still looking for someone to read a book, I suggest. For the greater good. Nature versus nurture. Snape's nature was to be good, but his nurturing was dark.
I mean, these are thorny questions. This is like philosophy, right?
Oh,
It's
yeah.
like, who are you? What is a person, right?
Where else
Yeah.
would Sirius have gone? It wouldn't have helped, or not helped the wizarding world either way.
Wait, what?
'Cause I made the point about what Dumbledore did to Sirius.
I mean,
You really couldn't have put him anywhere else. You really couldn't have.
Couldn't have apparated him to like Jamaica, you know, take a vacation.
You could have done something else. Come on.
I like Alonzo Guess's comment here. Can we just talk about how McGonagall must feel about Harry not naming a kid after her? Like, she did so much
Yeah.
for him.
That's
It's
true.
so true. So true.
That's true. He does have a daughter, and he names her Lily, right?
Yeah. Well, come on.
Lily Luna or something
I
like
forgot.
that. I don't remember.
I mean, Lily's got to take precedent.
I mean, she
But
is Mama.
middle name, maybe, you know.
No Minerva. Well, he did have two boys. That's not
Lily
his fault.
McGonagall Potter.
Minervo.
Minervo. Tom Minervo Potter.
Tom
Riddle.
Minerva.
Riddle, Potter, all of them. Yeah.
He did curse someone for spitting at McGonagall. He did. Minerva Ginevra Potter.
I'm going to read this comment because it is something that I think I've brought up in the past. You know what's fucked up about Harry Potter's whole story is you got a place with spells, spell casting people that could literally help the world heal and have proper order and make a lot of illness a forgotten thing. But no, they treat it like some kind of uppity club you don't talk about. And it's true. I've had this when we're talking about how they can just heal normal
cuts
and stuff just no problem.
Yep.
What the heck?
Yeah, why don't they just smuggle like wizards and witches into Muggle hospitals?
Right.
Yeah, they have contact with the human minister, the Muggle minister.
Totally.
The human minister.
Yeah.
They're all human, you know what I mean.
Totally.
Yeah.
So
why don't they do stuff like that? Like, why don't they team up? Why is there such a separation? You know?
Yeah. Cancer cured.
Pretty much.
Cured.
Ask Lucius Malfoy that question, I guess. I don't know.
But it seems like the one thing the wizarding world hasn't cracked is mental illness, as seen in St. Mungo's, right?
Oh,
that's
yeah.
what I mean.
The wizarding world is like way, way behind on mental illness.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe Snape would have been a little nicer if he had a therapist.
This is a good
Maybe
point.
Cho Chang
Right.
wouldn't have had such PTSD if she had a therapist after Cedric died, you know.
It
Just
would.
thoughts.
Will you stop coughing? It would be interesting because you could just swap. Like, hey, wizards, we'll give you some therapists. You give us some healers. Call it even. You know.
Katie's like, if Muggles had access to magic, there would be an overpopulation crisis. Yeah, people would just not die.
Yeah.
Well, wizards die.
Yeah, but they live to be like 120. They live longer. They tend to live longer than Muggles. But if you don't have people dying and living longer, you're gonna have them.
I mean, maybe, but still.
Don't let them use it. Just use it on them. They can't use it anyway.
Just have like a cutoff age, you know? Once you reach 90 years old, no more magic for you. You're stuck with the Muggle.
Dan Williams, that one guy talking to the wall in Nocturne Alley.
Yeah. That's what they do. Oh, you have a mental illness? Here, one prescription for Nocturne Alley. Go have fun.
Just go down there.
Doctor's
That's
orders.
where you live now.
You'll figure it out.
Yeah. I live in the basement of Borgin and Burke's.
Oh man.
But Snape.
But Snape.
So many interesting things once you really get
Snape.
deep into the wizarding world.
Oh,
It's a little controversial.
Yeah.
But I think Dan said somewhere up there that part of Fantastic Beasts, that's a huge portion of Fantastic Beasts 2, which I'm guessing is wizards using magic to help heal muggles.
Oh. Or the division of it.
And we need to watch those movies. So.
Yeah, we do, unfortunately. Well, I'm assuming that's why What's-His-Face gets to go to Hogwarts and all that stuff.
And that's another thing I brought up. Like, how is there not some wizard who has taken advantage of his magical ability to become a billionaire?
Well, you kind of see that a little bit with the Tales of Beetle the Bard.
Yeah.
With the story of is it the Hopping Pot story? With the wizard who won't help the people in the village. He doesn't want to help the people in the village.
Yeah. And then it's the king and
no, that's Babbity Rabbity. That's different.
Yeah, I was thinking of Babbity Rabbity. Okay, never mind.
No, there's the wizard and he doesn't want to help anyone in the village. He's really selfish or whatever. And then the Hopping Pot or something, it gets more obnoxious and whatever. And then once he starts helping people, it
calms down again.
Something.
Cinderella, what's that? An illness?
Yeah. Ron's so great. Ron's so great. Use the Gimino curse.
Yeah.
But then all the money will be hot. Draco's family used magic to make Muggle money in the past.
I find that.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
That is true.
So that's why.
There were Malfoys in hundreds of years ago who were like at court with the English king and all that stuff.
That would be so cool to see magic in that far in the past.
Oh yeah,
That would be so cool.
Hands down.
Like Camelot and stuff.
Yeah.
Like Merlin. Like I want to know more about Merlin.
Greatest Slytherin of all time. Merlin.
That'll be Hogwarts Legacy 2. Maybe they'll tell the story of like Hogwarts becoming Hogwarts.
That would be so awesome.
You get to play as Salazar Slytherin or Merlin.
Or all of them. Yeah.
What about ancient Greek wizards?
That'd be cool.
Which is in wizards in Roman times.
Yeah.
There's supposed to be 5 movies. They better explain how the hell Dumbledore looks so old in Harry Potter versus these movies. He goes from looking like GQ to looking like a homeless hobo who trains hops in bed sheets. A homeless hobo who train hops in bed sheets for clothes.
Well, I did read there are supposed to be 5 Fantastic Beasts movies, but I guess now everything depends on how this new one does. Like if this new one underperforms,
they're done.
I think they're gonna be done.
That's unfortunate.
Merlin was in English mythology, a man of the woods. Well, I think Dumbledore being GQ looking in the movies is a flaw of the movies. Dumbledore's always supposed to be wearing robes and little extra looking.
A little extra.
Yeah. This is just like a movieism that has stuck now.
Yes, they all dress like muggles for some reason.
I Jude Law in the role.
I think we had a comment actually on our impressions of Hogwarts Legacy, and we talked about how everyone in Hogsmeade was wearing like Muggle clothes.
Yeah,
and they were like, "What's the big deal about that?" It's because it's a movieism. They're all supposed to be wearing robes. Like they're supposed to not know anything about Muggle clothes. That's why the guy at the Quidditch Cup is walking around in a nightgown.
Yeah.
Like, oh, check out this robe I got. It's so breezy and airy.
Yeah. They're not supposed to. The movies just love Muggle clothing on wizards. Yes. It's not. The only time Dumbledore isn't wearing robes is when he goes to meet Tom Riddle for the first time, and he's wearing like a violently purple suit or something. It's like purple velvet or something ridiculous.
A violent violet.
You have to admit, the man's got style.
Yeah, right? Oh, Alonzo says, imagine if the Half-Blood Prince wrote down the Inside Out curse instead of Sectum Sempra.
Damn.
You want to know?
Maybe we can do it in Hogwarts Legacy. Dark Wizard, just turn a goblin inside out or something.
Ever since we read that I think it's the second book where Hermione looks up the Polyjuice potion.
Yeah. I guess so many questions. Like, how do they just like turn inside out, or does it like just slowly happen? Like their throat just starts.
He just had so many questions. Yeah, Katie, I feel you. Michael Gambon's like wardrobe was just blah.
It was blah.
Like first 2 movies, like Dumbledore was like extravagant and ridiculous and like elegant and like that's
had, like some bling.
Yeah,
those were all like bedazzled.
Yeah, that's what Dumbledore's supposed to look like. He's supposed to be a little flamboyant and extra. His robes look dirty half the time in the later movies.
Yeah.
He needs his midnight blues and purples. Yeah, that's what Dumbledore likes.
Exactly.
Yeah.
He needs those bright colors.
Velvets and
not
embroidery.
Like Gabby and
that weird hat that he wears.
Yeah.
That fez-looking hat thing that he wears.
Mm-hmm.
He's supposed to have like a wizard's hat, you know. Well, they're all supposed to have wizard's hats. They don't do that either.
Since we're supposed to be talking about Snape here,
I really did want to make a point about Snape.
Snape is one of the few characters I think the movies like nailed. You said that he's not mean enough, which fair enough. But in terms of like look and overall, without those like little nitpicks that he could have been meaner, I think they nailed him.
Yeah, I think Alan Rickman suggested all the buttons on the costume.
Nice.
Like he's like buttoned all up, you know? And I think Alan Rickman said, like, he is buttoned up all the way. That's who he is. He that fits him as a person. So he wanted all the buttons.
I just love Rickman's performances in the movies. So, yeah.
Katie's like, he was just so likable.
I know. Darn you, Alan Rickman, for being so likable.
Well, I was going to make another point about Snape, actually. I know I forgot what it was.
While you think about that, Goro asked if we had thoughts on his last comment. So real quick, if Harry Potter falls off ratings-wise, it will get sold off. In 15, 20 years, you'll get a teaser. It'll show some kid finding the Elder Wand, broken fragments in a creek bed. I feel like this is Jumanji. Gonna be drums playing. As the camera pans up, you see a green flash of light, and when the camera goes back down, the wand is whole once more. Well, I guess for the movies, yeah, that could work. But technically, what really happens to the Elder Wand is it's buried again with Dumbledore.
Yeah.
But since we're talking about a movie in the future, and that is the movie as in he snaps the wand and throws it.
That's not canon. Why are we talking about it?
Because we're talking about
that to happen.
Yeah, I really don't either.
Like, that's a fun idea, like, good idea, but if they do a sequel Harry Potter series, they should just do something different. Different ideas, different...
Not Harry, not Ron, not Hermione.
Not Deathly Hallows, not any of that.
Yeah, just do something totally
tell a
different.
new story.
Something original.
Something original. Not this time-traveling, cursed child, stupid stuff.
Nope.
Yeah.
Nope.
Or if you're going to do something in the future, you should definitely do it, like, many years in the future, like...
Right.
After even Harry's children are dead.
Yeah. Cyberpunk.
Yeah, Wizard Punk.
Wizard Punk, we were talking about that.
We were.
Oh my god, that'd be crazy.
I finally determined what Wizard Punk is. And Moody is Wizard Punk.
Because he's a cyborg. We were talking about this.
He's the wizard version of a cyborg. He's the closest thing we'll ever get.
I love that. That's great.
Oh, Alistair. You missed so much Snape discussion. Either stick to book content or something completely different. Yeah. Don't do a sequel. Just, I mean, even if you wanted to do the Marauders, I guess you could, but just do something different.
New. I think we all would.
I think the Marauders would be great.
I think it'd be really easy to F it up.
I think it would, but I think there's enough there so that you have like a solid outline of where everything should be and everyone should go in their story arcs.
I also
think it's open enough for interpretation that
I tend to agree.
Yeah, if like the movie studio, if WB says they want to, do certain things with it, they have that lenience to where there's not a lot of canon.
There's wiggle room there. Yeah. Do you think that would work better as a movie or like a miniseries?
I'd rather see it as a show.
Yeah, me too.
But I think there's enough there for it to be good or enough there to make me hate it.
Well, it all depends. When it comes to movies or shows, it's all about the director's choices of what to leave and what to take out.
Right.
Like I said, the outline's there. As long as they leave what's there and then take their creative liberties on the holes in between those, it'll be good. If they decide, I really don't like that Sirius sent Snape down here, I want it to be James, and then have him have the remorse and go and get him or something like that, then it ruins it.
Yeah, totally. I think we should pivot back to Snape.
Yes, let's pivot back to Snape. We've got 20 minutes. We're getting way out on tangents.
Which is okay.
Which is fine.
Actually, a nice little segue between this. If they do an All the Young Dudes movie, I think it would be very interesting if they did it from Snape's perspective.
The All the Young Dudes story is very interesting because they paint him very much as a Draco character.
I only say that because I think it would be interesting to find out more about Snape.
Mm-hmm.
And also that gives, again, the director much more liberty into what he wants to do. Because other than we know that the Marauders picked on him, Sirius tried to kill him, and that he loved Lily, everything else that happens is totally fair game for anyone to mess with creatively.
I love how Sirius is so convinced that David Bowie is a wizard, because honestly, I think he is. Snape is not a bad guy, but he's not a good guy. He switched sides for the wrong reasons, and he was a bully. All the students hate him for a reason. It's not just Harry and Neville.
We were talking about
Do
that.
all the students hate him, though?
Maybe not the Slytherins, but I'd say a lot of them. Everyone else probably does, right?
We have the interpretation. I wasn't going to use that as a defense on why I thought he was bad. I said earlier that we got Neville's, Harry's, and Ron and Hermione's, but Ron and Hermione are probably going to side with Harry on this.
Right.
But Harry, Snape hates him for obvious reasons. Neville, Snape probably has resentment that it was Harry that Voldemort went to try and kill, and not Neville. Mm-hmm. So they're, he sees them as like, it could have been you, it should have been you.
Right.
And outside of that,
what Catelyn says to Jon Snow.
Yeah.
When Bran fell.
And outside of that, we don't really get many views.
Other than those.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you get a very, very biased.
So some students may have said that Snape was a great teacher, but we really don't know.
Well, the other thing on that is Snape was really gifted. I mean, he literally invented spells.
Lots of them. Corrected the potions book. Like, was a genius, really, like a savant when it comes to magic.
Yeah, right? He was.
Yeah, very much so.
I think
also,
one of the articles I read said that he knew more like spells and curses when he began Hogwarts than the 7th years knew.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it said, somebody says it in the book. I think like Sirius or Lupin says Snape knew more curses than half the 7th years when he got to school. He was he was born to be bad or whatever.
Right.
So no one can refute the idea that Snape is brilliant at what he does.
Right.
But that doesn't make you a good teacher either, and it definitely doesn't make you a good person.
Right. Right.
Yeah.
Although I just thought it was interesting to note.
He does teach Harry a lot of very, very valuable things.
Yeah.
He does.
Even though they were bad experiences, Expelliarmus saves his butt many times. Yeah. And if it wasn't for the Bezoar, Ron probably would have died.
Yeah.
So, there's that.
But is there like an intentionality behind Snape with that, though? Isn't it just coincidence that he taught him about the Bezoar and then...
Well, he teaches him about the Bezoar directly in book 1.
Yeah.
And then,
what is the function of a Bezoar or whatever? Yeah.
And then in book 6, when Slughorn asks the class the question, how would you stop most poisonings or whatever, and Snape had written a note, just shove a Bezoar down their throat.
Right.
So it's iterated to Harry twice, both from Snape in real time and then in his notes when he was 16 or whatever.
Okay. What do you guys think Snape would turn into as an Animagi?
Well, doesn't he become a bat?
No.
Oh. He just flies. Oh, okay. He looks like a bat because of his robes.
His robes.
Oh, okay.
Cape.
But I mean, Bat's a decent guess, though.
Why not a bat?
Why not a bat?
He's Batman.
You've never seen Snape and Batman in the same room together.
This is true.
One of the best moments in book 7 is when he makes the Snape-shaped hole. When he leaves, he made a Snape-shaped hole.
I like Chrissa's comment up there. Did he create the spells or rediscover them? That's kind of cool.
Ooh, did they ever answer that? I'm gonna ask you, our resident genius on Harry Potter.
Well, when Lupin talks about like the Levicorpus spell and how spells go in and out of fashion and all of that, I think it's kind of left up to interpretation. I think some of them he invented. Mm-hmm. Like Sectum Sempra.
Right, yeah, that's the one.
That's the one, because as soon as Harry does it and Snape shows up in the bathroom,
he knows.
Snape knows.
Which means he
knows he has his book. He knows you just did that spell that I invented. And then he uses it on George.
But like, how do you invent a spell? Like, that's crazy, right?
Yeah. That's a question I've had.
That's Dumbledore stuff.
That is Dumbledore.
Dumbledore helped discover some of the 12 uses of dragon's blood. Like, I
Right,
think you
yeah. He was a
can
pioneer.
create spells. I think he invented those spells.
That's wild.
Mhm.
That's wild.
I could imagine him being a magpie or a raven for some reason. I could see that.
I could
A
do
raven.
Yeah, raven seems.
I love
Seems right.
Or
if he was a fruit bat, that would just be like.
That's great.
But they're cute.
So
Fruit bats is cute,
uh,
but they're huge.
I just had a quick question about Animagus and Patronus. So, like, his Animagus wouldn't be a doe, right?
No.
Because that's already covered with the Patronus.
Yeah.
Okay, just checking.
Patronus and Animagus are
Different.
two different things,
Okay.
and why they are the animal that they are two different
Two different
things.
reasons. Okay, just wanted to clarify that.
Katie, yeah, I think he does that in 6 when Harry's chasing him, when Snape is trying to escape, and Snape is just
Deflecting
everything, and I think he says, "How dare you try to use one of my own spells against me?"
One of my own spells.
And that's
Yeah,
the
yeah.
reveal that he's the Half-Blood Prince, I think.
Right.
Like, you dare use one of my own spells against me. I think he says
I
that.
want to watch that scene again now. Oh my God, so good.
So yeah, there it is.
So,
Snape
yeah,
invented it.
Snape invented spells. Brilliant.
So yes, genius.
Genius.
You learned all the spells and wanted more.
That's right. He never teaches Harry occlumency. He actually doesn't try to tell Harry how to do it properly.
Yeah,
Well,
he's just like, now do it while I read your mind.
Right.
The
He's just like, I'm just gonna batter you into submission until you fight back, type of.
occlumency lessons are very interesting to me. Number 1, Dumbledore. What the F were you thinking with that decision? That was a terrible decision. Let's take these two people who hate each other
Yeah.
and put them in a room together
Yeah.
to try to teach them this really, really difficult branch of magic.
Maybe he thought it was.
Yeah. How is that gonna not turn out?
I think he thought it was gonna be, like one of those movie scenes where two people that hate each other, he starts
They come to
training
terms
them,
with
and
each
then
other.
yeah,
right.
then he becomes his Mr. Miyagi, and he sees,
Kind of like how
wax on,
Zuko
wax
teaches
off.
Aang firebending in the Avatar show.
Yeah.
After
Yeah.
being his
Enemy.
enemy for so long. Yeah.
Fiasco is the word for the occlumency lessons. Control your emotions. Discipline your mind.
God.
Bad idea. Bad. All kinds of bad.
I want to watch the movies again.
He was.
It's almost like you're in pilot school, and the pilot takes you up 3 miles up, and then just hands you the controls. All right,
land this
go
plane.
ahead and land it.
I mean, I get the merit of that method of teaching. I get the merit of that. You learn by doing, right?
Well, I saw a comment before from Z Beauty. She says that she's noticed a lot of times the most brilliant people are the worst teachers. Which I kind of agree.
I agree too.
Yeah.
Yeah. There's
Yeah.
a difference between knowing a lot and imparting that to other people.
Yeah.
Yeah.
In like a way that it's gonna stick in their head and they'll remember and they'll be excited about it. It's like that's a totally different
Well, I
skill.
think part of it is because when you know something so well, when you've really mastered it,
Mhm.
what may seem like just layman terms for you is
It's like-
actually
It's
Way
so
above
complicated.
rocket side. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, that's right. Because there's a point where he's reading Harry's mind, and Harry's hanging out with Sirius or something. Or no, the Ripper. He sees Ripper.
Oh.
Harry getting chased up the tree by the bulldog, and Snape's like, "Whose dog was that?"
I forgot that. That's hilarious. That's hilarious.
He's just so snarky about it. And like during those occlumency lessons, you're like, "Wow, Snape, you're being a dick. You're being a dick." And then Harry turns around
Turns the tables on him.
and invades his privacy.
And that's how we learn about the pivotal moment that I think this debate hinges upon, the Snape's worst memory, right?
Yeah.
That's the whole point we're having this
'Cause
debate, right?
That's a real turning point
Yeah.
in Snape's life.
It's
It was the
focal crux of it.
Yeah.
Yeah, it very much is. Snape just tells students what to do. He doesn't teach them. I don't think he wanted to teach anybody anything. I don't think he wanted to be a teacher.
He's the equivalent of that teacher that just puts on a movie every day.
Well, that's how his lessons are. He puts the stuff on the whiteboard or the chalkboard, and then that's it.
Yeah.
Do it, guys.
I told you what a Bezoar was on the first day. That's enough. Now do it.
Yeah, I don't think he wanted to teach. I don't think he had a desire to teach, and I think he had a pretty short fuse when it came to that kind of thing, because I just don't think he wanted to do it.
I mean, I think the only teacher...
I want to see someone teaching how to discipline the mind.
I just joined, so not sure if you talked about it yet, but do you think Snape would be just another Death Eater if Harry was hypothetically not Lily's son?
100%.
I agree.
100%.
That's the path he was going down.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's why that is the turning point.
Right.
Is because it's Harry.
Right.
Lily's son. That's the turning point. Yeah.
It's all about Lily.
Shit talking about teaching is easy.
Okay.
Oh, I don't think teaching is easy.
I don't think teaching is easy, which is why I think we see what we see with Snape. He's not very good at it.
Yeah.
From Harry's perspective, right? Mm-hmm. Because maybe the Slytherins were good at it. I don't know. We don't see that. Number 2, don't think he wanted to do it, and being brilliant and being a good teacher are two very different things. Totally different.
Yeah.
McGonagall is obviously very invested in being a teacher.
Yeah. Sprout.
Yeah.
Definitely. Flitwick.
Well,
Hagrid?
Man, we should have the talk about Sprout. Our whole theory is that she's growing some electric lettuce down in the greenhouses. That's her side hustle. She's growing some crazy magical stuff down there and then selling it to the muggles.
And Neville's her mule.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep. And then Neville takes over the business
Yeah.
later when he becomes the herbology professor. He takes over the empire.
It's like Breaking Bad.
Because he marries
Exactly.
Hannah, and he marries Hannah Abbott, who runs the Leaky Cauldron. So it's like a syndicate.
Oh my god. It's a syndicate. It really
That's
is.
right.
Holy shit.
His love for Lily was so deep that he put aside his feelings and protected Harry. He did protect Harry in spite of his hatred for Harry.
Mm-hmm.
And I have said, I don't think Snape would ever have been capable of liking Harry.
Well, okay.
Oh, no, go ahead.
I just wanted to ask, so I get that the reason Snape hates Harry is because he looks like James.
I think it's deeper than that.
Okay. So there's reasons.
But that's
a big one.
It's a component for sure.
More or less just the fact that Harry is James's son.
That's okay. That's even deeper. But why wouldn't you just put all that aside and like, this is the son of my great love? Why am I being a jerk to him? You know?
I think the Catelyn argument was kind of what I used for that. I think it's part of it is ego.
Okay.
You love this person.
Right.
You love this person with all your heart and soul.
And then they go on and
they have a child with someone else. That someone else is an absolutely horrible nightmare of a person.
Yeah.
From your perspective.
Yeah.
Right. Well, I'm not going to say James is a horrible person. That's not what I'm saying. But from your perspective, now they have both died, and you have to protect that child.
Right.
And you lost that person through your own actions. And then that child not only looks exactly like that horrible, awful person, but they also have the eyes
of your great love.
And it's right there.
It would be hard to, okay.
I would think that is an incredible feat to ask of anyone. I don't think most people would be capable of that. I think those expectations are high. Well, he could have come to care for him. He could have I don't think so. I don't think people are that Strong. I don't think they are.
But
Most
we have
people.
established, though, that Snape is not just an everyday person. I mean, this is a guy of tremendous ability.
But you have Catelyn Stark, who hates Jon Snow.
Right.
She's a reminder of Ned's infidelity.
But,
she hates him. She's very motherly. She loves her children. She's very nurturing. And she treats him like garbage.
Yeah.
Because
I don't think that's a good description, because she's with Ned. Ned cheats on her. With Snape, they were never together. Lily never cheated on him. It was just I'm going to be with James. That's it.
No, I'm not saying that I'm using the relationship and the feelings of.
I know, but I'm saying I think the feelings are totally different.
I think the resentment is there. I think the resentment is the same.
But yeah, I don't think it's the same.
Well, in some ways, I think for Snape, in some ways, it's worse.
That goes back to why I say it's his obsession and not.
I think it's worse for Snape because not only is this child a reminder of the fact that you lost her, but you also, through your own actions, caused her death later.
Mm-hmm.
And now you're going to be nice to him? You're going to like him? Come on. That's a high expectation, I think.
But you're the reason for her death. Now you're going to torment her son.
Like, why wouldn't you treat him with kindness?
I think it's ego.
I
think it's ego. You can't get out of.
But then that goes back to the point that a lot of people use for Snape is that he does everything he does for selfish reasons.
The ego argument would play into that. Would play into the selfish angle.
This is like we've already had this conversation.
We've litigated this,
but he wasn't here.
That's true. Snape could have used some of Sprout's lettuce. Ned never cheated, though. I'm a Hufflepuff. I could get Sprout's books. Snape didn't have to be so cruel to him and the other students. He's still awful to Hermione, too, and there's no history with her.
Lily was his best friend and true love. It's not an obsession.
We all hate know-it-alls, though. He's cruel to Hermione, but we also have to look at it he's cruel to Hermione from Harry's perspective. Was he really that vicious, or was it Harry seeing it as being really that vicious? I'm not arguing for one or the other. I'm just saying you could look at it that way. Personal question related to Snape's feelings towards Lily. When you were in junior high, did you have any guy that had a crush on you that you told no but kept pushing? I think so. Nope. People didn't crush on me in high school, Dan. I did not have any of that. Or at least if they did crush on me, I had no idea because they never spoke to me.
There was a girl who like stalked me basically. Mm-hmm. So yeah.
But that's
I know that feeling.
That's not Lily's relationship with Snape.
Well, no, but
they're genuinely friends.
Yeah.
They genuinely care about each other.
But why at the end of the worst memory chapter, after James humiliates him?
Yeah.
Why does he lash out at Lily then? Doesn't he call her a mudblood?
He calls her mudblood.
So why would he do that?
Because he's
pure blind rage. I think he wasn't thinking. It was one of those moments.
It just came out.
Yeah. I think it was purely because then that's why he later is just so remorseful over it, and she's just like, no.
But I think someone else in the comments was like, well, he was mean to Hermione because she's Muggle-born. And that would kind of indicate that maybe he does have a bias towards Muggle-borns.
That was another one of my defenses that,
Which would also indicate that he's bad. I mean, I don't like the whole good badass. I know it's like a fun debate thing, but
I guess
I don't think there is good or bad.
I guess
right.
I guess a better way to put it is was Snape's character still malicious? In a way,
That's okay. Yeah. I would say yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I would too.
Friends, but he wants more. She doesn't. He keeps pushing without being brave about it the way James was. Well, Snape didn't have the confidence that James had. Not even close.
Yeah. Honestly, I think he could have stood a chance if the whole Snape's worst memory didn't happen. I mean, they were best friends and everything.
Yeah.
And Lily did go out of her way to
really
friend him and help him.
yeah,
maintain that
stay
friendship.
friends
Yeah.
with him and try to help take him down the right path. And I think
Yeah.
if that hadn't happened, she may have succeeded, and maybe Snape would have been a better person, and maybe they could have been together. It's totally possible.
Rowling has said if he had made different choices, they could have ended up together.
Mhm.
So the point there is that when you say, well, Snape clung on to Lily like a puppy dog and it was toxic. No, they were friends with each other. There was mutual love and respect there.
Yeah.
He
I don't buy
just
the
ruined
stalker
it. I don't buy the stalker angle.
yeah.
I don't buy the toxic angle. I think there was genuine affection there.
Yeah.
What a different story it would have been with Harry, Snape, and the Philosopher's Stone.
Right? I think he just ruined it. That's what happened. James was a toe rag. Snape was a greaseball. Poor Lily.
Poor Lily. God.
Maybe it's not about whether or not Snape was bad or good. Maybe it was about Lily's lack of options.
I guess. Yeah. It's like, wow, everyone. I was born to Muggle parents, and now I'm at this awesome wizard school, and everyone sucks.
And now my sister hates me.
Yeah, right.
No, Maddie, I agree. I don't think he stalked her, but
Yeah.
I don't think he ever moved on. And it's okay to still have love for someone, but the extent that he did was a little much. Like
I think he potentially would have been able to move on had he not heard the prophecy and kind of helped her die.
that's such a great way to put it. He helped her die.
Well, he did kind of help.
He helped her stop breathing.
Yes.
They're like Romeo and Juliet.
He helped her cease to be.
But I think the whole idea that James was this toe rag and Snape was this slime ball, it paints a perfect picture that they were both bad people at one point, right? They were these...
Well, they were young, arrogant, idiot kids. I wouldn't call them...
Fair enough. I said
bad,
I wasn't going to use their childhood as a defense. So
he helped to unlive her.
There were these dumb kids who did bad things or said bad things.
Yeah, I mean, look at Sirius, almost killed him.
But you have the comparison where it goes back to how Dumbledore said we're, it's our decisions that make us... I can't remember the exact quote, but it was something...
It's our choice. Yeah, it's when Harry and Dumbledore are talking about, should I have been sorted into Slytherin, and I'm so much like Voldemort, and blah, 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 blah.
James was a cruel person to Snape. Snape was a cruel person to James. The only difference is that Snape continued down the path of cruelty. James changed.
Snape also had one person to help guide him. He lost that person. James had so much more support.
Yeah.
So it was a lot easier for James to make that shift.
Or maybe it's just the idea that Lily made each one of them good people. And whoever Lily had been with would have been a good person.
Yeah, okay. I don't think so. I don't think it's that simple as, that's all Lily. Lily does this and now you're good.
So you're saying Snape would still be a bad person?
No, I'm saying...
Checkmate. Just kidding.
I'm saying James had all this support, right? He had his friends.
See you later, Alonzo. Have a good week.
He had his friends. He had his parents. James had a lot of really great love and support to help guide him.
Mm-hmm. And Snape had nobody.
Snape had nobody except Lily. And you had one Lily versus all these other people in his common room. All these Death Eater kids. And you've got one person trying to talk sense into you versus everybody else that he's surrounded with. Then he loses her. What's his sphere of influence now? He's got nobody. All the Slytherin Death Eater kids. That's it. Got no other support for guidance and all of that. And when you're arguing that they're teenagers need that, right?
Oh yeah.
Snape's
bad
nature versus his nurture.
Plus, don't we know that Snape came from an abusive household?
He did.
Okay.
Yep. His parents are fighting all the
Yep.
time. It's inferred that his
yeah,
dad pretty much beats the crap out of his.
Or was like an alcoholic or something.
Yeah. It was bad. Did James really change, or was he just fighting on the winning side of the war? Lily says what Snape's friends did to a girl was creepy. He defends it.
She does.
Yeah, she says something about how
Yeah.
it was terrible, and he defends it.
Forgot that.
Right. That's what I'm saying. He's under that sphere of influence. He's gonna defend it because who else does he have? Those are his people. He doesn't have anybody else.
He has Lily at that point.
He has Lily at that point. Plus the inner turmoil there of this one person.
I forgot that part.
I think Snape ruined it before he would have even had a chance to change for Lily. He would have had to have extricate himself out from those people,
those influences.
And
but
how
that's
are you?
So hard to do.
It's very hard to do, especially when you have this like house system. These are the people you live with.
I was just thinking about that. The whole house system. It's like you're good, you're bad. It's like this is dumb. Like, can't we all just be at the school?
Wait. So I just want to ask another question then. So you're saying the house system is broken because he was in the bad house.
That's not what I said.
So you're saying that.
That's not what I said.
Well, he kind of said it, but
That's not what I said.
You're saying he was surrounded by all these Death Eaters, the Slytherins.
Right.
So are you admitting that Slytherin is a bad house?
No.
Full of bad people?
No.
But what's the point of a house system like?
I'm saying that when you're trying to have expectations.
I think it started in the beginning as like students. They would put students there as a way to find out what that student was more interested in. You know.
But then it morphed into this like weird rivalry thing.
Yeah. Pretty much. You could kind of blame that on Hogwarts for having like the House Cup and pitting them all against each other.
against each other.
Yeah.
Yes, Chris is like, yes, we are. We are the worst. Slytherins are evil. Slytherin is not a bad house, but often the bad end up there because often ambition comes from darkness. Slytherins aren't bad people. It's just have trouble history. Hey, I'm a Slytherin. We're great people. Just don't mess with us.
Oh yeah, I'm not saying that's bad. I was just kind of joking.
Yeah, you were.
But, yeah.
But I think that's...
I wasn't. Just kidding.
See, there's a Gryffindor bullshit coming out right there.
Gryffindor bullshit.
I don't think I...
Oh my god.
I can't
Team
remember if you told
Ravenclaw
us.
here.
Team Ravenclaw. There you go, Katie. Team Ravenclaw right there. Katie's a Ravenclaw.
Oh, cool.
She's all about that.
But sometimes when I'm depressed, I feel like a Hufflepuff. Just kidding. Hufflepuffs are cool too.
Smoke mad weed and eat in the kitchen.
You know what? That's what I want to do. I want to be a Hufflepuff.
And just want to hug everyone.
Hufflepuff.
Yeah.
Hufflepuff puff pass.
Yep. I just think it's comparing James's ability to transform his behavior with Snape's ability to transform his behavior. It's almost like apples and oranges.
Yeah.
James was lucky in that he had a lot of people and opportunity. I don't think Puff the Magic Dragon. We only hear from James's friends how great he was. Yeah. We get a very biased...
That's true.
That's true. And also, James is Harry's dad. you know, so there it is. We don't... I mean, granted, we do hear it was a back and forth thing. James cursed Snape. Snape cursed James. Snape and his friends were being jerks, you know. How are you going to stop being a jerk when you literally have one person who's trying to kind of steer you right, and that's all you got?
Yeah, I definitely see what you're saying.
Very hard.
Yeah.
Even if you love that person and they are your best friend, it's very hard to extricate yourself from that, especially when, like, you all sleep in the same bedroom.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's true, too.
You
Right.
literally live with these people. It's very
You're
hard.
probably, like, absorbing all their negative stuff.
Right.
You know?
But shouldn't Harry have thought his parents were lazy bums, the way Vernon and Petunia talked about them, if they talked about them?
Yeah, we really don't get, like, a first interpretation. I mean, though
Well,
I don't...
Harry doesn't have any opinion about his parents at the start because Vernon and Petunia don't
Never
talk
talk
about
yeah,
them.
I was going to say, really, they only talk about, oh, they were killed in a car crash.
And that's it. They don't say anything. And we do know James was very spoiled by his parents. They were older when they had him. They didn't think they were going to have kids. So he very much oozes the... James is very fortunate to have had a very supportive, loving, financially well-off upbringing. And with that comes some cockiness and some arrogance. And while it is biased information, we don't really know how terrible James really was. We just hear what Lupin and Sirius have to say about James. We see Snape's memory. You know, everything is bits and pieces about James.
We just don't know enough.
We just don't know enough. But you could see, based on the information that we have, that James goes from being this very cocky, arrogant kid to just changing his behavior and being better by just growing up.
Mm-hmm.
Just by virtue of growing up and maturing. You get that.
Maddie G kind of makes a good point. Lily couldn't stand James. Imagine how she'd feel had he bullied her like he did James. I think what she's... Yeah, I get what she means. Yeah. It got me thinking, like, we're talking about how bad Snape is, but she was, you know, for the most part, still accepting of Snape, but she hated James.
Mm-hmm.
Like, James must have been really bad from what we know about Snape. Like, he must have been really bad.
Right.
Right.
If she prefers Snape, it's like, whoa.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, Snape is her best friend. Well, Snape is also her best friend since they were like 7.
Yeah. And
so they're already best friends going into school. And then your first blow for Snape is, me and my best friend are going to Hogwarts. Oh, I'm in Slytherin. She's in Gryffindor.
That's a first blow.
That's a first blow right there. They're split right there.
When we really break it down, it comes down to it's Hogwarts' fault for everything.
Yeah.
Because their whole house
They're
system
pitting them against each other. Yeah.
Dumbledore says it. I think we sort too soon.
I think you sorted.
He says it directly to Snape.
Yeah.
But, yeah, if you're sitting there going, you know what Snape is like getting involved in, and you're still I think she's still his friend because she doesn't want him to go down that path. She wants him to
be better,
to figure it out.
Yeah.
And she still hates James.
Right.
No offense to all the young dudes, but I think all the young dudes is a little biased.
I read the article on Lupin on Pottermore, and all the young dudes is very off from Lupin's actual story.
Yeah, I'm sure it is. Yeah.
I haven't said anything because I want to, like, ruin
the magic of the story.
of the story for anyone who's been reading along with us. But
you know, it would be a great heist is if someone decided, like, yeah, the Hogwarts house system is bad. It pits people against each other, like we said.
Yep.
So a great heist would be, let's go in and steal the Sorting Hat.
Oh.
Then what are they gonna do?
That's right.
Yeah.
Gonna do it by hand? Nope.
Yeah. That's what I would do.
I wonder how many bets are placed by the headmasters. My house is gonna beat yours this year. No way, mine's gonna beat yours. Meanwhile, Hufflepuff is just there. Guys, I don't want to bet again.
I don't want to. Yeah. I've just lost too much money.
Poor Hufflepuff. They never make it.
Yes, Kypris, the Sorting Hat is to blame for everything. I think this is true.
Yeah.
The true villain of the story.
Turns out the Sorting Hat is in control of Hogwarts.
Yeah.
Maddie G said she meant in the sense that she already couldn't stand James. Had he bullied her like he did James, she would have hated him.
Oh.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's what she meant, yeah. Lily is Snape. Snape is Lily's first connection to the wizarding world. She stays friends with him because of that, despite the dark magic stuff. Until the mudblood slur. Mudblood swirl. Moaning Myrtle gets in on that.
Mudblood swirl. Sounds like
that's a classic bullying thing. I bet you James gave Snape a swirl.
Mudblood swirl.
Mudblood swirl.
That should be a flavor of ice cream
That's
in
Diagon
Alley.
No, that's Voldemort's ice cream company. Mudblood swirl is the first flavor.
They have their vendor in Nocturne Alley.
Yes.
Yeah. Pure blood pistachio.
With it's pistachio, raspberry, and chocolate all swirled together. With little like sprinkles that look like snake scales.
And you could have like chocolate sprinkles looking like dark marks.
Yep.
Yeah. There we go.
I think for the mudblood swirl, you'd have to put like little gummy slugs on it. Little throwback to Ron.
Yeah. Moldy Voldy's ice cream.
Yes, that's great. But yeah, the whole James, Lily, Snape house, Avada Kedavra mint. Cruciatus crunch.
One for Imperious.
How rich is the Potter family? Because they aren't like the richest family. The Potter family is pretty rich because Harry's grandpa invented a very popular shampoo.
And the question still remains, who owns that shampoo company now? Because we know it's still around.
Mm-hmm.
But
Hermione uses it in book 4.
It didn't stay in the family, and Harry didn't inherit it.
This is true. I don't think the house system changes much, really. The students would still value the same things and probably still hang out with the same people.
Okay. That's fair, I guess.
I don't think the house system is broken.
But I think you have the chance to hang out with people of different viewpoints.
Yeah.
It might help a student learn more and also be more of the person that they are and less of the person that their house dictates them to be.
I was just using the house system to illustrate the point of, because they're in these dorm rooms, it's just that much harder to extricate yourself from that sphere of influence.
Yeah.
I mean, you take Snape with his Death Eater influence, you're in the dorms, you're in the common rooms, you know. But by the same token, the influence with James is there. James and Sirius are always together. Sirius always egging him on. Mm-hmm. James always performing for Sirius without being able to... I mean, the classes are mixed and stuff.
That's true.
Was Pettigrew a Gryffindor?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. That's crazy.
Dan Williams goes, who works for Moldy Voldy's ice cream? Who does the manufacturing? Wasn't Voldy to tear down the house system, so Voldy did nothing wrong. Confirmed. Voldemort was going to make it equal for everyone. No more houses. All of you are Slytherins now.
I
don't mind
history
the house
is
system.
written by the victors. Really. Voldemort was a good guy in all this.
Yep.
Yeah.
He was trying to bring down the oppression and segregation that Hogwarts has implemented.
Yep.
And it was just that pesky Dumbledore and all those Order of the Phoenix assholes. I don't know.
Adolf Dumbledore.
I don't think the Malfoys lost their money.
I don't know. I think it was a lot of it. I mean, maybe not all of it.
They're still living at the house in 7.
Well, yeah, but I don't know. I feel like I think they definitely lost some of their fortune. But Lucius was also hiding away a lot of like dark relics and stuff, so he probably like laundered or hid away in some wizard's Swiss bank account
Yeah.
a lot of the money.
Lucius Malfoy has accounts in the Caymans.
Yeah.
The,
Yeah, right.
the
offshore
those-
accounts.
The offshore goblin banks.
Yeah.
Probably. I have to use the bathroom
Offshore
real
goblin banks.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Offshore, there's Gringotts, there's gotta be other ones. I just have to use the bathroom.
Working for the Harry Potter Sleek Easy Hair Care. Yes. Oh, I'm sure, Lucas, there's definitely a fanfic.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
Bellatrix Bubblegum? Uh-oh. Bellatrix Bubblegum. Make you suffer so much you'll be wishing for the Cruciatus.
Lestrange Licorice.
Are you interested in streaming Hogwarts Legacy video game? Yes. Yes, we are. We are definitely going to do that. 100%. Are you going to be playing that when it comes out?
I want to get it and just try it out. I don't really game much anymore, but I want to try it.
Yeah, I really don't game that much anymore either, but that it seems too good to be true. I gotta play it.
Plus, hasn't it been in the works for like a long, long time?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
It was...
I remember hearing about this years ago.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There was like some little snippet released from one of the game testers that leaked like 3 or 4 years ago.
Right.
And everyone was like, oh my god, this looks amazing.
Yeah.
And then never heard anything else until like last year. And then they said that this year in the spring we were going to get it. And
Do
then...
we have a release date?
Not a specific one.
Okay.
But now they say that it's going to be holiday this year.
Got it. Okay.
I'm not going to hold my breath because...
Is it coming out for PS4?
PS4, PS5, and PC.
Okay, so I have a PS4. Yeah, I definitely want to try it for sure. Maybe we could like play together somehow. I don't know how that would work.
It would be awesome if there was co-op.
That would be great.
If there's co-op, we should definitely play.
Oh yeah, I'm in.
But yeah, hope that answered it. We're definitely going to be playing it, and we will be streaming it on here. Isn't a pay per month? I don't think it will be, because it's a heavily single-player story-based game. So I don't think so. Maybe in the future, if they do include multiplayer, they might do like a World of Warcraft type thing. Build up the wizarding world, and then you'll have to pay a monthly fee or something, which would be at BBS, but it's the world we live in.
Did you ever play a game called Bully? It was by
Bully?
Rockstar
Yes.
Games. Yeah.
Yes.
Imagine if it was like that.
Oh, it probably will be.
Yeah, I'd imagine it'd be similar.
You're gonna have to watch the trailer at some point.
I want to.
Because you can choose what type of wizard you want to be. You choose your house.
Is it like, is there an attribute like skill tree type of thing?
Yep.
I guess we don't know yet. Oh,
Yep,
is there?
there
Okay,
is.
cool, nice.
You can basically customize everything, including attribute, skill tree, and you can become a good wizard or a dark wizard, and your house.
Can I be
your wand.
neither? Can I be just neutral?
You want to be a Snape, a Gray.
A Gray. Gandalf the Grey.
Yes, there you go. That's gonna be your character.
Yeah,
You're
right.
Gandalf the Grey. I am neither good nor bad.
Right. Until I come back, like literally like Jesus. Yeah.
I don't know. I'm assuming, like around the end of the year, Katie, around Christmas time.
Sneaking.
Yeah, there's definitely emulators. I don't know if there's a PS4 emulator out yet.
Oh, we're talking about the game now?
Yeah.
That's what we do here. We go on tangents.
Yeah. Well, I feel like we finished.
We pretty much did.
Because
we all said.
Yeah.
I think all the information is out there.
It's up to everyone else to decide.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't think any of our viewpoints changed. I
No,
think
I
we're
don't
pretty,
think
still
so.
pretty
We're
solid.
pretty all solid where we are.
I like how we're
but-
all on the different teams. You're
Yes.
team good, you're team bad, and I'm team great.
Yeah.
Yep.
That's what it made it a perfect discussion,
Yeah,
though.
it was.
Because everyone has the.
Yeah.
The thing I like about the Snape conversation is you can justify any argument you want either way,
Right.
and no one is ever wrong.
Hmm.
Right.
I said sneaking. Precious.
Katie. Yeah, Snape's a bad guy.
Snape was
figured it
bad.
out.
End of story.
What's Peter's precious?
Potatoes. Right.
Stupid hobbitses.
When are you gonna start reading Lord of the Rings?
We need to buy new copies of the books. We need copies.
I thought you had a copy of the first one.
No, I don't have. I don't have the books
Are you
anymore.
gonna do the Hobbit first, or just jump right into the Fellowship? I mean, I don't want to make more work for you to do, but just wondering, because the Hobbit's quick. I mean, that's a quick read.
Yeah, it is.
So you could probably bust that
We
out.
should do the Hobbit first because
It's the first
Bilbo
one.
finds the ring.
Yeah.
It's the start of the story. Gotta sing all the songs.
Oh yeah.
Chip the glasses and break the plates. That's what Bilbo Baggins hates. So carefully, carefully with the plates. Silmarillion. After Lord of the Rings.
Yeah.
Silmarillion after Lord of the Rings.
And Marcelo, yes, I love Andy Serkis's reading.
Yeah.
I imagine that's got to be awesome.
I listened
it's
to.
amazing.
Oh wow, that's so cool.
It's the best audiobook I've ever heard.
It's so
For the
good.
Hobbit.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
I don't know if he's done all of the Lord of the Rings, but I was listening to his Fellowship of the Ring too. He does
Pretty
that as
good,
well.
too.
I think he did all of them.
That's awesome.
So,
But I am waiting for your reading with anticipation.
this is the one where you're gonna have some major competition because Andy Serkis was,
That sounds awesome.
I'm not gonna compete with Andy Serkis. There's no way. That's not competition at all. Question: what are the best dragons in fantasy? Harry Potter, Lord of the Rings, Game of Thrones, or Aragon? Well, not Aragon. Just right out the gate.
We already
Oh,
talked
man.
about Aragon.
Best dragons, though?
best dragons.
I don't know. The dragons in Tooth and Claw are pretty great. The Pride and Prejudice with dragons.
You told me about that. That
Yeah,
sounds awesome.
that book is
I was
great.
also trying to just think of other examples too.
Oh,
You know-
Marcelo, thank you.
I think
Oh, thank you. Krista says she's really enjoying Fire and Ice. To my credit.
that's
Thank
awesome.
you. Thank you.
As far as dragons
Thank
go,
you very
Yeah.
much, Marcelo. I appreciate it.
I think Game of Thrones might have the best dragons.
You think so?
I think so because Lord of the Rings, obviously, Smaug is great.
Smaug.
Smaug is. I feel weird saying it like that.
That's
Smaug.
how you're supposed to. That's how Tolkien says you're supposed to pronounce it.
How dare I argue with that then? So Smaug is great and all, but he's like, he's like a person, but
He speaks.
yeah, he's a character. When
Right.
in Game of Thrones, it's more of they're just animals. It's kind of like Jurassic Park, really.
They're animals
They're just animals
Yeah.
doing their thing.
being enslaved by humanity
Yeah, kind of.
for war.
I mean, I guess you could argue that Daenerys kind of has some control over them, and they show a bit of personality, but for the most part,
They're animals.
Yeah.
They're animals.
and that is the same in Harry Potter too. But I don't
They're
think
animals in Harry Potter.
we just don't get enough of the dragons for me to compare. When we get a lot,
I know.
of
That's why I'm
descriptions.
having trouble with this question because I feel like it's not equal in.
Hey, you know
different
what's
stories.
kind of,
Yeah.
you know what's actually really kind of cool? The dragon in book 7 is a Ukrainian Iron Belly,
Nice.
and he breaks free and earns his freedom.
No. He breaks his irons.
Yes. Norberta was a pretty cool dragon for Harry Potter dragons.
It was 100%.
Norberta.
I just I had an issue. The only thing that puts it over is we had so much more with Game of Thrones. Like there's such a emphasis on the dragons in Game of Thrones.
That's true.
Where Harry Potter, we get quick little glimpses of the dragons and everything, and they sound cool. They sound awesome.
We get dragons in 3 books, 1, 4, and 7.
But it's for like a chapter.
Yeah.
That's why I was saying a while ago I wanted to know more about Charlie and how
Yeah.
what his whole deal with the dragons is.
I know. What's he doing?
That's a lot of, again, untapped potential
Yep.
there.
Oh yeah,
Yep.
100%.
Yeah.
Which dragon was your favorite Triwizard dragon? The problem is you only see the Hungarian Horntail. You just know
Yeah.
that there's a Chinese Fireball, a Swedish Short Snout, and
Like the green
and the
something.
common Welsh Green.
Yeah.
That's it. You don't get to see them. So it's just
How do you pick?
yeah.
I
You
mean,
don't really get to see them. You know what I mean? Will the Song of Ice and Fire books ever come to an end? And are you happy with the Game of Thrones TV ending?
okay.
No and no.
Yeah, that's a simple way to put it. There's a quick answer.
I do
Okay,
think
here's the
we'll
thing.
get Winds of Winter. I think we will get Winds of Winter.
But A Dream
Yeah.
of Spring is just that.
a dream.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know if we'll get no and no. I don't know if we'll ever get an ending to the books, but I do think we will get Winds of Winter.
So I kind of have to elaborate on the ending of the show. I didn't hate that everyone ended up where they did. I hated how it happened.
Yeah.
It was just rushed.
Totally
A
rushed.
lot of the stuff just didn't make sense. And I'm a firm believer that where everyone's story arc ended is where the books will end. So that ending is kind of the ending. But I think the books are gonna definitely take different journeys to arrive there.
Mm-hmm.
So I kind of like the ending, but I didn't like how they got to the ending.
Yeah.
If that makes sense. Like I was okay with where everyone was at the end.
Yeah,
The final journey.
culmination of where everybody finished. I didn't hate where everybody ended up either, with an exception. I was not feeling a Danny.
Danny,
I wasn't feeling it.
do elaborate.
I don't want to spoil anything. I don't. I didn't like how she died in the show.
Mm-hmm. Well, that comes back to the idea that
I have a feeling that could happen, but the circumstances need to be a lot different.
Yeah.
Shouldn't we show this to the people?
Did they get to see it?
I don't know if
The drawing?
I thought you posted it on Discord or
I put it on the Insta.
Oh.
Yeah.
Too good not to share. That's all.
I didn't hate where everyone ended up, but it just made no logical sense with and everyone's plot armor by the end of the show.
Mm-hmm.
It was just awful.
That's what I mean. Like the
Yeah.
whole story to get those characters where they were was just flawed at every aspect.
Yeah.
On the books though, I will say this, at this point in time, I no longer really care if we get the final books because it's been so long. I mean, I'm going to read them. Let's just make
Right.
that clear. When they come out, I
Yeah,
will sit down
yeah.
not stop until I'm done reading them. But I don't really care that much because at this point we've had so much time to just contemplate things and come up with so many theories. I think there's theories out there that will be 10 times better than whatever Martin can come up with. I think when you have this long to think about something, like the craziness of the ideas that a whole community can come up with versus the ideas
Versus
of one person,
Right.
Yeah.
That's
I
what's
think
so
there's
cool.
going to be disappointment.
Inevitably.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean,
Well, that's what's
Just
so
because
cool
the
about-
expectations are going to be so high when they finally do come out.
and
I don't
that's
know.
what's so cool.
I don't think Varys is going to end up being a mermaid. I'm just saying.
Well, no, some of them aren't going to be true.
Well, my favorite part of the last season of Game of Thrones was when Brienne becomes a knight.
That was good
That was awesome.
Jaime's character arc was perfect.
until it
Until it wasn't.
wasn't.
His arc, his story was perfect. I loved how his story kind of ends within the book and Brienne's story, and they kind of meet at the end.
Yeah.
But again, the means at which that ending
Occurred.
came about
Is
was poor.
That was the best part of the season when she gets knighted and all that. That was
the best episode, I thought. A Knight, I think it was called A Knight
Knight
of the Seven
Kingdoms.
Kingdoms. That was just a great episode.
the only part of that was like the only thing in that season that really felt like it was earned was
Right.
when Jaime knights her.
Right.
That was the only thing that felt earned. The rest
was not earned at all. Oh, okay. One other thing that was earned was when Arya goes sicko mode on the zombies.
Yeah.
She had been training her whole life.
I hated Arya by the end of the show because of all the plot armor, and she's like some super badass crazy warrior. They didn't build that up right at all.
I thought they did.
I
But I mean, I love Arya though, so I'm. Totally
I love
biased.
Arya in the books, but by the time we get to the end of the show, I'm just like, ugh.
Well, it was stupid how she killed the Night King. That's dumb. But
That
like,
was stupid. Also, the thing that what like
when
really
she's
got
killing
me.
the zombies, I mean, she
But
killed
what
like
about-
40 zombies.
Yes.
But what about when she gets stabbed and then tossed over into the river?
Yeah.
No infection, no nothing, and then she's
All good.
running through the streets and
Right.
come on.
There,
come
okay.
on.
You're,
So-
yeah.
Like Alistair said, I've seen so many theories. One was about John's parents, and it's different from what it actually was, but I liked it. I agree. I think I'll like it. I'm just saying, I think there's so many expectations for the books at this point that there's inevitably going to be some disappointment, and I don't think they're going to fully live up to the expectation. Not
Katie,
saying that
yeah.
they'll be bad in any means.
But people have
But-
just been chewing on what's available for so.
So,
Katie says it's kind of mean of Martin to give the fans the titles of the books, meaning he already has it all planned, but it's been over a decade now waiting for them.
But he really doesn't have it planned. Because if you go back to, we read the original letter to Martin's publisher on this channel at one point.
Yep,
Martin originally planned the books to be a trilogy.
and that was
So
it.
already,
Yep,
already he's
Far
off his,
beyond
off
that.
his plan.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
we've nearly doubled the amount of book.
yep, yep, yep.
Well-
Yeah, I don't know. I think we'll get what we get, I guess.
Yeah.
Are there no Cersei chapters? There are, but they don't come until a later book.
Yeah.
So there are
The-
Cersei chapters, there are Jaime chapters, but they're just later.
Yep.
They're in a later book.
Characters are added throughout the books.
Yeah, you get more characters as the story goes on.
We lose some
Point-
characters, we keep some characters, and some new characters come in.
One of my favorite theories is totally not true, but I like it. It's Bolton. Have you heard
What?
that one?
No.
Bolton. I think we've talked about it
The
before.
vampire?
Bruce Bolton is a vampire,
Oh, yeah.
and that's how his house is the flayed man house. They like drink the blood and they
To
shape
stay alive.
and then they take the skins off and wear the new skins when they're old skins.
That's badass.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
Bruce Bolton.
See what I mean? His story's never going to be that awesome.
We're already inventing. Yeah.
um.
He should just crowd poll everybody. Like, how do you want it to end?
Right?
Yeah.
Well, Dan.
He kind of
Um,
did with the show. Like, okay, so we'll scratch
So
that
not
ending.
that. Yeah. Not that.
I hope Davos's chapters become better. I'm still on Storm of Swords. Ugh. Dan, I don't think we get Cersei chapters until book 4.
Maybe next book.
Or is it
I
next
think it's
book?
book 4.
I think it's book 4 too. I don't think we see Cersei until book 4. But either way, I think we're getting way beyond.
We
Yeah.
kind of drifted
We've
away.
drifted way, way far away.
If Arya was going to kill the Night King, you could have had Jon fight and distract him so Arya could come in for the kill, so you have a kind of brother and sister team up.
That would have been
pretty
awesome.
cool.
Yeah.
I mean, they did build up the entire time to Jon and the Night King being the face-off, and then
Right.
just Arya out of nowhere.
Yeah.
What?
Yeah.
What? Okay. Jon like being stuck with.
Have you seen the video of the table read for the last season?
Yes.
With Kit Harington,
Yes.
Yeah.
like crying, reading.
Yeah.
Can't even read it anymore. He's just like.
Yeah.
And then Amelia Clark is just like looking at him like,
Yeah, she just mouths the words sorry.
yeah, I know.
Yeah.
Oh my god, that is crazy.
I loved Conleth. What's his face?
Oh, yeah,
the guy that
Conleth
played
Hill.
Bear.
Yeah.
Yeah, where he's reading it and he's just like he's so pissed.
Quit.
He's so angry over it.
Just kill me off. Right?
Yep.
Yeah.
But, oh, never mind. It just escaped me what I was going to say.
We'll have to double check, Dan, but I think it's not till book 4. Maybe it's Storm of Swords where we start seeing Cersei. I can't remember.
I can
But
actually
either way,
just
Dan, it's
look.
not until It's not until the next. It's not in this book. We don't get Cersei in this book. That I know. I want to read at least Winds of Winter because I want to see Euron do crazy, eldritch, Lovecraftian, evil, dark magic.
Hell yeah.
Blood ritual, sacrifice, awfulness.
It would be very interesting to talk about some of those influences in the Game of Thrones in a video.
What influences?
Like the Lovecraft
influence
and stuff.
The Lord of the Rings influences, all that.
Yeah. I would totally be down to do that at one point. I think we should definitely make our Dumbledore discussion next, though.
Yeah, I think maybe we'll have to next time we stream we'll have the Dumbledore debate.
Nice.
We'll discuss
I'm definitely
Dumbledore.
gonna go see Secrets of Dumbledore next weekend. So
I think I'm going to.
Maddie, have fun. She's gonna go listen to some All the Young Dudes.
All right. Good luck.
Good chat.
Enjoy.
Yes, I heard they're planning a Dunk and Egg TV series. I'm actually excited for House of the Dragon.
I don't know what to expect, and that's why I'm excited also.
From what I've seen, it looks like they are really staying faithful to the source material. We'll see.
Plus, I like that guy, Matt Smith.
Matt Smith as Daemon Targaryen, yeah. I hope the Lord of the Rings Netflix. Well, it's an Amazon show.
I'm a little skeptical. I'm
about
sorry.
The Lord of the Rings.
I am, but maybe I'm just being too pessimistic. Though it might be great. Who knows?
I
just am a little scared that they're gonna ruin it.
So is every other Tolkien fan out there. I don't think I know enough about it to feel one way or the other about the.
Yeah, I'll give it a shot for sure.
Matt Smith is not my doctor. Oh. Okay then. I don't watch Doctor Who. So
I don't watch it either.
It's not. I don't.
Yeah, I don't know. You know, at this point, with the quality of shows they're putting out, I wish Apple TV would do the Lord of the Rings show.
Right? I'm not a big Matt Smith fan, so that's kind of taken some of the
Apple
interest
TV
away.
has Foundation, though. That is awesome.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, by the Isaac Asimov books.
Yeah.
So cool. You would love it.
We need to get Apple TV.
David Tennant is my
They
doctor.
have the new Walking with Dinosaurs, like, spin-off thing, new dinosaur documentary with David Attenborough.
That looks awesome. I'm not like a huge Matt Smith fan one way or the other. I'm just excited for the show. I'm ready for the show.
Yeah. I really haven't looked up anything about the new Lord of the Rings show.
Oh, so
I'm sorry, I was talking about House of the Dragon.
Oh.
Gotta go to bed. See you next time for the Dumbledore debate. Greetings from two Greeks in the Netherlands.
Oh, thank you.
We'll see you
Have
next time.
Have a good night. And yes, we'll see you next time. Dumbledore. Do you want to join us for the Dumbledore one?
Sure. When's it going to be? We don't know.
It's going to be my last free weekend.
Well,
maybe the next Saturday?
All
right.
Next Saturday.
And I'll be fresh from seeing Fantastic Beasts 3.
So yeah.
You'll have some input.
Maybe not say things, because I don't think you guys are going to watch it.
Well,
I'm not going to the theater to see that.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
I'm not spending money to see that movie.
I am, because I want them to make more Harry Potter movies. I'm supporting the cause. But I get where you're coming from, obviously. I get where you're saying.
But yeah. I don't know enough about the Lord of the Rings show to have an opinion. Maybe I should do some research. I know some people are like doing that stupid thing where they're like, they cast a person of color as this elf character. That's not okay.
They need
I
to
hate
stop.
all that.
And that's
unless the book or the original works strictly state the race or color of skin of the character.
Who cares? Yeah, exactly. Yeah. I hate that whole
especially when it comes to like fantasy and mythology.
It's not real, people.
That it's a fantasy, so it can be.
You're literally talking about the fact that they cast a person of color
in a fictional
fantasy character where they're not even human. They're an elf.
Yeah, that too.
What's the problem?
Yeah.
So that's like all I've seen about the new show is people being racist. So I'm like, okay, that doesn't help me try to decide if this is something I want to watch.
I haven't seen any of that, so I don't know.
Yeah, I missed that. Yeah.
But I am down for House of the Dragon. And speaking of casting people of color, Corlys Valerian has these really, really long, like, Targaryen-colored dreads.
Nice.
And they look so cool. They look awesome.
On that note, though, we are approaching the end of the stream.
Yeah,
Finally.
yeah.
So, does anyone have any more statements on Snape? Any more questions?
To quote Katie, or to rather paraphrase Katie, yeah,
He's
Snape is a
bad.
good guy.
I think he's a bad guy who did
I
some
don't
good
think
things.
that's even paraphrasing. That's just
Did
the
some good
complete
things.
wrong statement.
I don't
There's
have anything.
no good or evil, right? There's only power, right?
That's right.
And those
Too weak to seek it.
Snape is a bad guy.
Snape is bad guy, but also he is bad guy.
Snape's the best person in the books. End off.
I don't know if anyone can like change a person's viewpoint on Snape after they read the book for the first time.
Right. I
No.
know.
I don't think so.
Well, it's just like any debate. It's like it just further entrenches you on your side that you already picked.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
I mean, sometimes you can say, "Well, I see that's a good
You can see where they're
point.
coming from.
I could see why you could argue that." But the difference with this debate versus, say, like a political debate is this is all about interpretation of the text,
Right. Exactly.
Yeah.
not facts,
Not
statistics,
facts
and whatever
all
else.
that empirical evidence.
James Bond is nothing compared to Snape.
That's right.
That's right.
You
It's
take
true.
nothing else away.
Snape is way better than James Bond.
Snape is the
Greatest
ultimate
spy of all time. I think the result
The
of
name's
the
Snape. Severus Snape.
Yeah, I like Dan's comment there. The result of this debate is Snape acted bad despite having a good heart. That's kind of where I'm coming from with the gray thing. It's like,
I think that's a very solid.
yeah,
I think that's a pretty solid
That's a
statement.
solid
Actually,
point.
I like that.
yeah.
He did some bad things, but inside he was good.
But he still did bad things.
But he did good things too, and it was good inside. Round and round and round we
Round,
go,
round,
and
and
round it never
round we
ends.
go. Yeah.
So Krista says, I've read the books multiple times, listened to them multiple times. I think Snape's a good guy with bad habits.
Sure.
All right.
That's fair. All are valid opinions, which is what is good about this.
Yeah.
Right.
Everyone can have their own interpretation, opinion, viewpoint, and none of them are wrong.
Right.
Like I
Because
was saying,
it's all up to interpretation.
no matter what you think about Snape, we can all agree. Not only is he a great spy, but he's a pretty good character.
Yes.
Great character.
Brilliant
Not
character.
not good, but he's a good
No,
character.
Okay.
Yeah, yeah,
Oh, I
good,
see what you're doing.
Yeah, I
there.
just-
Yeah.
We can all agree to disagree. Absolutely.
That's right.
And
Yeah. There's no being the most right. There's only being the most convincing.
yep. Absolutely.
Yeah.
And a big thank you to everyone who watched for staying civil.
Yes, everybody
Definitely,
has
yeah.
been really nice, supportive, good arguments. No one was aggressive or rude. This was just good, friendly discussion.
Yeah, there's
And
part
this
of
was
me.
awesome.
There's part of me that was kind of before we started thinking like, was this a good idea? I don't want this to turn into just a flame war.
And it didn't. Everybody everybody made very good points, very valid arguments. This was,
I think we all learned a lot.
and I want to thank everybody for being respectful to everybody else.
Yeah.
That's
100%.
always important.
And
There was not crude language except me trying to compliment Neville.
because Neville's a badass, and there's no other way to describe him.
Who is also sexy, but you can't put that in the chat.
is
I
also
guess.
a
Oh,
drug
that's
dealer.
right. Yeah, he was.
He
sexy
tried to
too.
call Neville sexy in the chat.
Oh, okay.
It's like with all the young dudes. Sexy.
There was
You would have had to be in our last stream.
Okay.
The okay, so for context for everyone who's looking at me like, What's he doing?
The last time we read the chapter of all the young dudes, there was a content warning and it just said sex. And Evan was like, no, you got to say it like this.
Oh, okay.
Guys, content warning.
Yeah, right. Look both ways.
Sex.
Krista says your subs are awesome. They're great. No trolls. This is true. We
We love our subs.
We do love our subs. Everyone's so great in our little book community. Yeah, everybody's awesome. This has been great. We will see you all next time to talk about Dumbledore.
Yeah, well, we'll be here next Thursday, not talking about Dumbledore, probably reading more of the young dudes. But in 2 weeks, on that Saturday, you can join us again, same time, for a discussion about Dumbledore, just like we discussed Snape. Was he good? Was he bad? Was he gray? Was he the man? Yes.
All of the above.
All of the above.